Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is now 7 o'clock. This is a regular meeting of the Judson Board of Trustees. Is hereby called to order at 7 p.m. I am very pleased that you have taken time to join us this evening. As the Judson Board of Trustees, we are here to set goals and policies and oversee the management of the district. We are responsible for approving budgets, contracts, personnel appointments, and to listen to reports from the superintendent. We are not here to make administrative or management decisions pertaining to the daily operation of the district. This is the responsibility of the superintendent. In compliance with the state government code on open meetings, tonight's agenda has been appropriately posted. This is a meeting in public, not a meeting of the public. As our guests, you are welcome to observe and listen. These proceedings are being video and audio recorded and will become part of Judson's permanent legal record. In order that the tape adequately reflects these proceedings, please silence your mobile phones and refrain from talking while others are speaking. Since it is legally mandated that these proceedings are recorded accurately, I might have to ask for order periodically should I notice that disruptions are interfering with our recording capabilities. Once again, the board extends to each of you a sincere welcome. Thank you for your interest in the Judson ISD. We have established a quorum, and I will do the roll call. Mr. LaFoyle.
Here. Welcome.
Mr. Flores.
Welcome. Thank you for being here.
Ms. Adair.
Good evening.
Mr. Salyer.
Good evening. Thank you for coming.
Mr. Macias.
Good evening. Appreciate you guys being here.
Ms. Williams.
Good evening. Thank you for coming.
And I'm Arnoldo Salinas. I am the board president, and our superintendent, Dr. Mackey.
Good evening.
We will go and proceed with an invocation followed by the presentation of our callers. Dr. Mackey.
Our Heavenly Father, we just want to thank you for once again being able to have a board meeting. We want to thank you for all the wonderful things that you've given us and you blessed us with in order to educate kids each and every day. Lord, we cannot say thank you enough, because without you, we cannot do the job that we're doing to help kids every day. Thank you for the board. Thank you for the citizens here. Thank you for this community and all our educators for our kids. Thank you, Lord, for everything you're doing for each one of us every day. And thank you for all the blessings that you bestowed upon us to educate kids. Thank you, Lord, for everything. Amen.
Arnold, can I say something?
Yes, sir.
I'd just like a moment of silence also for the city of West Texas that had that explosion. A friend of mine is on the school board. All their schools are damaged. Their middle school burnt down. All their buses are damaged. And just wish them the best and just have a moment of silence, please.
And Boston.
And the Boston area tragedy. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Harry, color. Forward, mark. Mark time, mark. Guard, hold. Left, fake. Freeze and arm.
I'd like to introduce to you our pledge leader for this evening. If you come on up, Desiree. This is Desiree Wendland. She is a fifth grader from Pashal Elementary. Desiree is in the National Elementary Honor Society at Pashal Elementary. She's an A student and participates in the daily morning broadcast of Pashal Tiger TV. She is a member of the choir team where she also plays the recorder and drums. She eventually wants to join orchestra when she gets a bit older. And she already is making plans for the future, wanting to attend UTSA to study architecture. Let's join Desiree in the Pledge of Allegiance to the U.S. and Texas flags.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state, under God, and indivisible.
Order, arm. Ready, face. Forward, march. Color guard, halt. Ready, step. Ready, hold. Ready, hold. Ready, step. Ready, face. Present, arm. Order, one. Ready, face. Forward, march.
You may be seated. Let's give Desiree a hand for a great job. Okay, Desiree, why don't you come back on up here? I didn't mean to dismiss you just quite so early. Also want to recognize Desiree's parents, Olivia and William. Could you stand just for a second? Thank you very much for being here. I'd also like to recognize our color guard for this evening, coming from Wagner High School Junior ROTC. If you'd come forward, Cadet Captain Cassandra Nieves, Cadet Private Jessica Ramon, Cadet First Lieutenant Gracia Martinez, and Cadet Corporal Zulma Martinez. Thank you very much. They're also here with instructors, Sergeant First Class Joseph Ramon. All right, we do have quite a few folks that are going to be coming in, and so we're going to try to get to them as quickly as we can. Our first board recognition comes from Kirby Middle School. Students from Kirby recently competed at the State Skills USA Leadership and Skills Contest in Corpus Christi and did very, very well. As a matter of fact, first of all, one of the principals of manufacturing teams took first place honors with a beautiful picnic table, and it was built by Ashley Chandler and Jasmine Rodriguez. Why don't you come on in? And we also have a second team from the same school, and this team actually is comprised of Dimonique Sims, Joel Gomez, and Paul Lazola III, who took first place honors for their picnic table as well. Come on out. And Paul Azzola also took first place honors, not only for the picnic table as well, but also first place in welding applications. Their instructor is Mr. Richard Dowdy. I'm sorry. Then we have our students in the Principles of Construction. Now, this team created a beautiful exhibit of cabinet making that won first place at the state contest. Now, that team was comprised of Said Orozco Silva, John Combs, Sandra Garcia, Victoria de la Garza, and Jeremiah Robinson. By the way, their exhibit earned a superior rating with a score of 96 out of 100. Their instructor is Mr. Eric Rana. And if there are some parents of these students that are here tonight, could you stand up, please, as well? Thank you very much for being here, and thank you for your students' participation in supporting them. This is a good opportunity to also let everybody know, if you don't know already, about our Blueprint for Success. It's our first annual Skilled Trade Showcase. The full gamut of the trade skills will be represented out there. It's coming up May the 1st at Wagner High School. From 9 in the morning until 2 in the afternoon. It's the Wagner High School Career Center out there. So that's coming up again May 1st from 9 until 2 p.m. Now our next recognition comes from Judson High School. This is another group here. The men's and women's bowling team went to the state contest where they went deep into the competition. In fact, the ladies who went 8-1 in district play and advanced to regionals and on to state, they competed well and went all the way to the Final Four in the state. This team is made up of Amanda Pate, Aaron Bowen, Mallory Bove, Desiree Gomez, Sabrina Fowlery, and Becky Thurston. Congratulations. Meanwhile, the men's placed second place in district with a 9-3 record. The men's placed second in district with a 9-3 record, advancing to regionals and qualifying for state. They made it to the Elite 8 in state competition before their season ended. The men's team includes Joshua Stanley, Mark Villarreal, Jordan Dawkins, Zatavius White, Travell Hayward, Matthew Good, Andre Martin, Gabriel Ramon, Tori Miller, and Stephen Bowen. Now keep in mind, this team has only been in existence since 2010, so the coaching staff should be really congratulated as they have really gotten this team progressing over the last few years. They should be congratulated as well. That's head coach Larry Pate, and assistant coaches Frank Bove, Elvin Keeney, and Samantha Pate. And if there are some parents here of the bowling team, would you please stand to be recognized? Thank you very much for being here this evening and for your support as well. Our next board recognition, I'm getting a few pictures here. Thank y'all for being here. Our next board recognition is for one of our fine principals. The Texas Association of Secondary School Principals picks outstanding principals in each region each year. This year, for Region 20, the association named Judson Learning Academy Principal Brandon Van Vleck. Mr. Van Vleck? Mr. Van Vleck has done a great job at this school and has produced a great learning environment for his group of students. He will be recognized by the association in June and is eligible to be the state and national level later on, so congratulations to him. All right, our final recognition comes from Judson High School. Now, helping students look at options so that they can realize their dreams is the mission of this Judson High School counselor. Joanne Cruz, can you come forward? She is the winner of the Colin Powell Award from the Military Recruiters Organization called Our Community Salutes. She is always trying to open doors for students, whether military or on to college. In fact, one of her students recently received a full-ride Navy scholarship to Harvard University. We congratulate her and the work that she is doing. Thank you very much. And those are our recognitions for this evening.
We will now have the acknowledgement of visitors. Do we have any elected officials that I might have missed? Okay. Under the acknowledgement of visitors, this time is provided for citizens to address the board on issues or concerns. A person may speak one time for a period of 3 minutes. Presentations shall be informative only. No board action will be taken. A complaint or charge against an officer or employee of the district is not allowed in open session. Complaints and concerns for which other resolution channels are provided shall be directed through those channels. The presiding officer shall determine whether a person who wishes to address the board has attempted to solve a matter administratively. If not, the person shall be directed to the appropriate policy to seek resolution before bringing the matter to the board at a subsequent meeting. Citizens wishing to receive a response from concerns presented to the board must provide written documentation. The board shall not deliberate or decide regarding any subject that is not included on the agenda posted with notice of the meeting. We have Roxana Navarro. Concerning Hartman.
Hi. Sí.
Okay.
¿Le digo a usted o le digo a usted o lo digo?
Dígale ahí.
Okay. Yo estoy con mis niños de Hartman. No estoy de acuerdo que me los quieran cambiar a la escuela Pichelle o la otra escuela, porque tengo 2 niños que todavía están en Hartman y uno está en dislexia. So lo sacan del grupo para hablar con él y tratarlo de dislexia, y él se siente a gusto, y o sea, no quiero que me lo vayan a cambiar a una escuela y la otra niña en otra escuela, cuando él está en dislexia y él está a gusto con las maestras que están hablando con él sobre dislexia.
She says that she's a parent at Pichelle. She has 2 students.
Hartman.
I'm sorry, at Hartman, and does not want her students. You see, you all understand. Does not want her students transferred because they have been at Hartman, and one of her students is dyslexic and is receiving dyslexic services. Second grade.
Y pues me lo van a cambiar a otra escuela y yo quiero que se quede en Hartman, igual que la otra niña, debido a ese problema que él tiene, y no quiero que me lo cambien a otra escuela cuando él no conoce a nadie y no se va a sentir a gusto en otras counselors y todo eso.
Okay. Mom is wanting services provided for her child in dyslexia and doesn't want to. Testy? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. Her child who receives dyslexia services, and she doesn't want to have him in a new environment where he doesn't know anyone and have new counselors providing services to her child.
No quiero tener a un niño en una escuela y la otra niña en otra escuela. Quisiera que se quedaran en la misma escuela.
Okay. She does not want to have one child at Hartman or one child at Candlewood
Or Pashel.
or at Pashel. She would like to keep her children together. And that's all she has to share right now.
Thank you.
Muchas gracias. Señora Navarro, en referencia de lo que usted estaba diciendo, the school board, no podemos decirle nada, ¿ok? Eso se tiene que arreglar después, pero no podemos darle ahorita ninguna consecuencia, lo que sea, ¿ok?
¿Puedo añadir algo más,
Thank
por favor? Yo le puedo ayudar ya después de la junta, afuera, para ayudarle a entender el proceso, ¿ok? Gracias.
Thank you very much. I think, is this Odelia Diaz? ¿Necesita un intérprete?
Sí.
Ok. Ella va a ser su intérprete.
Ok. Buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Obdulia Díaz y estamos aquí porque necesitamos obtener más información acerca del cambio de las escuelas. Nosotros tenemos niños en la escuela Hartman.
Un momentito, déjame traducir eso.
Sí.
Her name is Ms. Diaz, and she would like to have other options that for her child, or actually in this case her children, she has two, who attend Hartman before they get transferred over to Candlewood.
No nos dieron opción de otras escuelas, solamente Candlewood. Hubo una reunión y nosotros como padres, algunos no estamos conformes con el cambio que está haciendo el distrito.
We were not provided additional options at a parent meeting that we had earlier in March, and we were not happy or content with the transfer of our children from Hartman to Candlewood.
No nos han dado opciones como Woodley, Hopkins o Paseo para cambiar a nuestros hijos. Nos lo están dejando solamente en Candlewood y no estamos de acuerdo varios de nuestros padres.
We are not in agreement with the change. We were not provided additional options like Woodlake or Hopkins, and we are not in agreement with this change.
En Candlewood nosotros hemos visto algunas cosas, pasamos por la área y miramos que hay muchos problemas por la área y no dentro de la escuela no sabemos mucho, pero sí lo que hemos visto, lo que se ha escuchado dentro de la escuela, cosas que los niños no tienen la seguridad para pasar como de la escuela Candlewood que se van caminando. Hay mucha inseguridad porque son niños que recorren de Candlewood hasta Meron Sunrise, a Sunrise Cover, caminando, niños de 7 a 12 años.
We have seen many different situations around the neighborhood and in the area of Candlewood and nearby Candlewood. We're not familiar with inside the school or what's going on inside the school in terms of safety, but we are very aware of what's going on the outside of Candlewood.
Sí. Ok, eso es todo de mi parte. Quisiéramos ver si nos dan más información o que nos dieran más opciones para la escuela, para nuestros hijos, si se pueden quedar en Hartman. terminar como bilingües.
This is all I have to say for right now. We'd like some additional information in reference to the change from Hartman to Candlewood.
Muchas gracias.
Gracias, señora Díaz.
Con permiso.
Francisco Alonso.
Hola, soy Francisco Alonso. Lo que yo quería decir es acerca de mis hijas de Hartman. Es acerca sobre lo mismo. No estamos de acuerdo que nos hayan cambiado a Candlewood por la simple razón es de que del área no está muy bien. Tenemos
I have basically the same message in reference to my two children, my two daughters. I have the same concerns about the area around Candlewood.
Sí, yo incluso hice más investigación. Ha habido balaceras, ha habido robos, ha habido situaciones en que las balas han penetrado y han entrado a la área de lo que es la escuela, han quebrado vidrios con las balas y nosotros no queremos eso para nuestros hijos.
I've done my own investigations. I have seen shootings. I have
Aquí.
the safety around the school. They've broken glass. They've shot into the glass of the school itself, of the windows. And ¿qué más quería decir?
Sí. Y bueno, por mis hijas. Yo tengo dos hijas. Tengo una de 9 y una de 7. Me dan una opción que es cambiarla, dejarla en 5º grado y la otra que se quede en Hartman. Yo pienso que no debería de ser así. Necesito que mis dos hijas estén en una sola escuela, no que una me la dejen en un lado y otra en otro lado. Y es más que nada es eso por lo que estamos pasando todos nosotros, todos los padres de familia.
I have two daughters, one who's in fifth grade, and the other one is going to be in third grade. And for one child to stay at Hartman and for the other to go to Candlewood is not what I want. I want my two daughters to stay together, and that
Nos dieron una opción de
to
que
give us another option
nos
for that
dieron
we
una
can keep
opción
them.
que las que estaban en cuartos iban a poder quedar en Hartman y las otras no le hace que fueran hermanas, la iban a mandar a Candlewood y eso
Okay,
no
so
pienso que está
there
bien.
was an arrangement made for the fourth graders moving up to fifth grade to be able to stay and finish fifth grade at Hartman. That would separate his two daughters because the third grader would not meet that requirement to stay as a fifth grader for next school year.
Yo lo único que pienso es cuál es el problema de dejar a nuestros hijos que sigan en Hartman. Es cuestión de dinero, cuestión de transportación. El transporte a todos nosotros de la colonia nos levantan con un solo bus, a todos. A lo mejor son dos, pero ahorita nomás los que estamos aquí es un solo bus con lo que pueden hacer con nosotros. Es cuestión de...
I'm wondering what the problem is. Is it a question of money? Is it transportation? Why can't we just leave our children there at Hartman?
Es
I didn't get the bus part. Okay, and that in addition to that only one bus would travel to pick up the children to take them to school.
O la otra opción es poner porobos. Y pienso que poner un porobo no es tan...
Another idea would be to add a portable at Hartman. Okay. Ahorita no le van a dar respuestas, nomás van a escucharle a
No,
usted.
yo estoy de acuerdo.
Okay.
Y pues muchas gracias por su atención y gracias.
Thank you for your attention.
Gracias,
Thank you.
señor Alonso. Señora Carla Garza, Hartman.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Carla Garza. y estoy aquí hablando sobre el cambio que está afectando a mi hija emocionalmente. Tengo una niña de 5 años y tengo una niña de 9 años. La niña de 9 años se me va a quedar en Harman para que termine su escuela ahí. Pero la de 4 años, desde que se enteró que iba fuera de esa escuela, todos los días su misma pregunta es, mami, por favor, ¿me puedes dejar ahí? O sea, yo creo que lo que está haciendo este cambio es perjudicando a los niños emocionalmente. La niña grande, yo sé que me mandaron la hoja diciéndome que si puedo dejar a la de cuarto es opcional, también la puedo mover. Pero la de cuarto también empezó a llorar y me dice que no, que ella no se quiere ir. Yo creo que tenemos derecho de antigüedad. Sorry.
Yeah, por eso le dije,
Okay.
dame oportunidad para puedo
Okay.
traducir a ellos, para que
Okay.
entiendan. Okay. It was a lot of information. I'm going to do my best to translate that.
Okay.
Say a couple of sentences because then I won't feel that you're actually saying
Okay.
what they're saying. It'll be your interpretation of what you remember.
Okay.
If you don't mind.
No, I don't mind at all. I tried to do that ahead of time, and I apologize for not interrupting. She was on a roll. And very passionate about her 2 daughters. She has one who's been given the option of staying in 5th grade for next year, but yet she has a younger child that's not having that same option, and it's affecting them emotionally. So they're asking her every day, please, can you ask them to let me stay here at Hartman?
Okay. Y yo sé que tengo la opción de quitar a la de cuarto para llevármelas juntas, pero la de cuarto también está que no se quiere ir porque ella ya tiene todos sus años en Harman, ya está acostumbrada a esa escuela.
¿Cuarto grado?
Sí, porque me mandaron.
Tiene opción, ¿verdad?
Sí, pero como también puedo quitarla para que se vaya con la
okay.
chiquita.
Déjame decir eso entonces. She understands fully that she has that her 4th grade child has an option to stay, but that she's considering what that would look like for the rest of para su otra hija, ¿verdad? For her other child as well, and so she doesn't want the change.
Okay.
Something like that, ¿verdad?
Sí.
Y me tienes que corregir, si no le dije bien, dígame.
Okay. Y también pues quería decirles, o sea, sí, el transporte es el problema, o sea, ¿cuál es el estar en mi misma colonia? A mí me dieron la opción de quitar a mi hija y a la vecina de la esquina se va a quedar en la misma escuela.
Okay, un momentito. Another area of concern is transportation. If they gave me the option of the bus, but yet the neighbor at the corner,
They're gonna stay at the same
they're going to be able to stay at the same school.
Y tienen el programa de bilingüe también. O sea, ¿esta decisión fue al azar o fue por áreas?
So she's asking if this was going to be a problem for the area or for a problem of
Decisión nada más como escogerlos.
just random selection of the different students that were chosen to be moved to the other school.
Okay. Muchas gracias, señora. Evelyn Acevedo, Hartman.
Buenas noches.
Me das un momento, habla un poquito unas dos oraciones para que pueda traducir rápido.
Ok, gracias. Yo también estoy aquí por el problema de Hartman. Que se tomó la decisión y no nos consultaron a los padres.
Okay, nuestro primer punto es...
Dígame otra vez.
Se tomó la decisión sin consultar a los padres de familia.
She's wanting to share with you that parents were not consulted in the decision-making process.
Se hizo una mini reunión en escuela, pero no fueron nuestras preguntas, nuestras dudas, nunca nos dieron aclaraciones para eso.
There was a parent meeting at the school, but any of the concerns or questions or doubts were not answered at the time.
Mi problema personal, yo tengo 5 niños. 2 de ellos me los dejan en escuela, a uno me los saca.
My personal problem is that I have 5 children, and 2 would stay, and the other would go to Candlewood.
Otra va a middle school y otra para Head Start.
I have another one in middle school, and I have a little one in Head Start.
Yo no me puedo repartir en 5 para recoger a mis 5 niños en 4 diferentes
I
escuelas.
cannot divide myself to be able to go pick up each of my child from a different campus.
Mi niño, uno de ellos tiene problemas emocionales, tiene dislexia. Apenas este año lo están ayudando en Harman, lo están apoyando en ese programa. Tiene muchos problemas y yo siento que al sacarlo y al cambiarlo de esa escuela va a ser peor.
One of my children has been diagnosed with many problems, one emotionally, and they're just now servicing him this school year. And to make that change, it would make it more difficult.
Mi niña a la que quieren sacar también está emocionalmente muy triste porque dice que porque a ella la hacen a un lado y a sus hermanos no.
Okay. My other child, my daughter, is also very emotional about it, and she's very sad that it would make a change between her and her brother.
Transportación, yo los puedo llevar a mis hijos a la escuela si ese es el problema.
If it's a transportation problem, I will make sure to take my children myself to school.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Thank you. Muchas gracias. María Elizalde Hartman.
Me ayuda.
Lo mismo como la otra señora que le hizo. Despacito, por favor.
Sí. Buenas tardes, mi nombre es María Elizalde. Tengo una niña que está en 3er grado en Harman y es el mismo problema, bueno, no es problema, es una situación.
I have a 3rd grade child and a very similar situation.
Ella desde 1er grado la han ayudado mucho con tutoría, tiene problemas con entender algunas cosas y ha tenido tutoría desde 1er grado, 2º grado y 3er grado. Está en tutoría 3, que es un maestro con ella y ella ha avanzado mucho.
My child has been in tutoring since 1st grade, so she's had it in 1st grade, 2nd grade, and she's had a lot of success in the tutoring.
Yo creo que Harman es una buena escuela, tiene un nivel reconocido y las escuelas que nos dio opciones de Candlewood es un nivel aceptable. Yo agradezco a los...
Me voy. Ya sé que estás apasionada en lo que estás diciendo, su mensaje es importante.
Gracias.
Pero un momentito.
Okay.
I recognize that Hartman, well, no. I know that that Hartman is a recognized campus and that Candlewood has acceptable recognition.
Eso le puede afectar en el nivel académico a ella porque necesita una ayuda extra y no sé si en la otra escuela van a seguir con esa ayuda. Lo mismo de la seguridad. Thank you.
Okay. I'm not certain that my child would receive the same types of services that she's been receiving from Hartman at Candlewood.
Respeto mucho a todas las personas que están aquí, a los maestros de Candlewood, a la directora y a todas las personas presentes. Agradezco su tiempo, que nos presten sus oídos para escuchar nuestras sugerencias. Gracias.
I'm thankful and I respect and thank everyone from Candlewood who's here to represent the teachers and the principal, and I would like them to be able to listen to our concerns, and thank you.
She did thank the board. Thank you.
Yes, she did.
Luis Arce Hartman.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Luis Arce, soy padre de familia de la escuela Hartman y vengo a hablar por mis hijos porque yo pienso que no es justo que los cambien de una escuela para otra.
I am a father and I'm a parent from Hartman, and I don't think it's just that our children would be moved from one campus to another campus.
Porque hemos invertido mucho tiempo en escuela, ¿me entiende? Yo he sido voluntario por 7 años con Hartman.
I have volunteered many hours of my time.
I've volunteered for 7 years.
7 years. Oh, sorry. He's volunteered for 7 years at Hartman.
Y yo quiero que mis niños terminen. Y yo tengo 2 niños que van en 3er grado. Mi niño, el más grande, terminó en Hartman.
I have 2 children in 3rd grade, and I would like them to finish at Hartman.
Y el nivel académico es muy bueno. Estamos muy a gusto con los maestros, con el principal.
The academic level is very good at Hartman, and we are very happy with the principal and the school.
Y quiero seguir siendo voluntario de Hartman.
I would like to continue to be a volunteer at Hartman.
Y Harmon, la escuela Harmon es parte de mi familia.
Hartman Elementary is part of my family.
Gracias por su tiempo.
Thank you for your time.
I believe that concludes the citizens to be heard. We now go into the consideration of consent items, and let me advise the board that item E, F, and G have been pulled until the next board meeting or the next special board meeting. Okay, item A. Consider and take action regarding approval of board minutes for the regular board meeting held on March 21st, 2013. B. Consider and take action regarding approval of monthly financial information as of March 31st, 2013. C. Consider and take action regarding quarterly cash investment report for all funds as of March 31st, 2013. D. Consider and take action regarding approval of construction procurement method for Kirby Middle School Building 200 demolition and reconstruction. H. Oh. Full D? Thank you, sir. H. Consider and take action regarding approval of statement of impact submitted by the following schools. San Antonio School for Inquiry and Creativity. And that's it. We have a motion and a motion by Mr. Macias, second by Ms. Williams. Discussion. No discussion. All those in favor of the motion signifying by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed likewise. Motion carries. Oh, I'm sorry. Got to come back to D. Consider and take action regarding approval of construction procurement method for Kirby Middle School Building 200 demolition and reconstruction. Mr. Macias.
Yes, I just have a general question about the...
Motion for that first.
Motion. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Thank you, Mr. LaFoyle.
I just wanted to, for my own understanding, what the construction procurement method is right now. What does that look like? Tell me a little bit how that process will work.
Okay. What we're asking is that the board go with a competitive seal proposal, and that's a hard bid.
Good. So it'll go to bid if we approve it today?
No. It's just the method that we're going through.
Okay.
Asking for the method. Mr. Kirsch?
Yes, sir. If you'll approve that method tonight, this will be advertised for bidding tomorrow. They'll put it in the paper for tomorrow.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, no further discussion. All those in favor signifying by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed likewise. Motion carries. Okay, discussion items and reports. Superintendent report. Dr. Mackey.
At this time, we'd like to have our TASB Human Resource Audit presentation by TASB. Thank you.
Good evening, members of the board, Dr. Mackey, and administrators. I'm April Mabry from HR Services at TASB, and I was the project lead for the HR review that we did in February. And as that role, my role was to coordinate with the district and to coordinate the report writing and work with the consultants, which there was 4 of us in total that worked on the project. Project was initiated, Dr. Mackey contacted our division, HR Services of TASB, and the desire was to follow up with some information that was included in the Gibson Consulting report that identified some risk in their risk assessment that HR was an area of concern, mainly because of the turnover in administration in that, of administrators in that department, and it was felt that some processes need to be put in place and looked at to diminish the district's risk. We came in, spent 2 days in the district, and we interviewed. You have a report. You should have the full report in your board packet. And so tonight I just want to give some highlights of the major findings and recommendations that would, as we put it, would give you the most return on your investment to initiate and to approve for HR. But as part of that process, we came in and met with various administrators, all of the staff of HR, the finance and payroll staff because of the working relationship between those departments, and also interviewed your auxiliary directors as well as principal from each one of the campus levels. Those principals were selected by Dr. Mackey and Elaine Howard for us to interview. We also conducted a customer survey, online survey of invited all principals and assistant principals to respond to the services and their needs from HR, the full report of that is in the analysis is in your report as the first appendix. The report provides pretty detailed information. What's interesting, we've done this with a number of districts as large as portions of it with Dallas ISD, Fort Worth, Victoria was the most recent one I worked with, and we did not find with any of the things that we looked at with Judson ISD anything that was glaring or we felt was an extreme risk. A lot of what you'll see in the report, if you read through the entire thing, is some very common details that we see in school districts of things that have evolved over the years that we recommend cleaning up or some different processes. One of the, what I want to touch on are probably 4 areas that we feel you need to look at, and investment in those areas as our recommendations will give you the most return on your investment. First of all, one of the things that we were extremely impressed with, and I think it's worthwhile as you look through the report to look at the commendations. Because we structured our findings of acknowledging the good things that are going on, and there are a lot of good things in your HR department. The first thing I would like to point out is the professionalism and the effort and the accomplishments of Elaine Howard. In her 2.5 years or 2 years tenure, she has done an outstanding job, particularly under the circumstances of the department being reduced from 4 professionals because of your previous reduction in staff to being the only professional in the department. We saw that there is an effort. You have a new administrative professional in that department, and that's Dr. Willie Black, correct? And that is improving it. But still, when you compare the staffing in your department to other comparable districts, it's much lower. Average is 3.6 professionals. And so that was one of our major recommendations, is to reorganize. We suggested and provided an organization chart that would be an addition of 1 professional, a net addition of 1 professional, and an upgrading of a vacant position to a professional. And that would help the department extensively. Let's see here. Other things we noticed that from the customer service survey of your principals as well as the principals we interviewed, that they all had a great amount of confidence in Ms. Howard, in her leadership and her dedication, as well as having respect for the department's level of knowledge. So that, because they are the main customers of HR services, that's extremely important to note. The other area, so staffing was the first area. The second area is some efforts are already being made to integrate your technology systems and improve your technology systems, but that is something we find often in departments, and saw in your department too, that there's a weakness, that there hasn't been an investment in moving forward with the technology issues. In order for HR to be a strategic partner to the superintendent and to provide good decision-making data, they need to have quality data, and that's something that I really encouraged improvements in. The third, which I saw the items were pulled from the consent agenda, but the third issue is your compensation plan. There was a compensation study done by HR Services in 2010 that was not implemented, and then the result of problems with the compensation plan is that it's going to interfere with your ability to attract and retain quality teachers. And so acknowledge that the board and the administration sees that as an issue and that you're working on that. So really encourage you to take a look at that again closely. And then finally, the other issue is your grievance procedures. One of the issues there is that my understanding is that there's concerns. The board has had concerns, and Dr. Mackey identified this when we came in, started and asked us to do the survey, or I'm sorry, the review. Is there wanted to make sure that good procedures were in place, that both parents and employees had a process for airing concerns and complaints. And this included what was reported, and we see is that there is extensive reporting to the board about ongoing grievances before they reach level 3. And this is a concern because, and TASB Legal has made this recommendation for quite some time, is that the board not see any details or get involved with any grievances until it reaches level 3. And so what our recommendations as we look at that is, it's important for the board to have data about the grievances, and Ms. Howard is working towards collecting that data to be able to give you reports of, for example, how many grievances were filed, what the location was, and what the resolution was, that they were resolved, because the ultimate goal is to have all those resolved before they ever get to the board, to keep it at the lowest level possible. And so keeping it that way is to ensure not bringing information before the board beforehand, is to make sure that you remain neutral and not have information until you hear both parties' sides of the issue. So our twofold recommendation was to have currently level 2 grievances are being heard by a second level supervisor in the departments. That we saw as problematic because that means that they're being handled differently depending on the department. And so the recommendation is to establish a level 2 hearing officer within HR, so you have a dedicated person who's trained and can respond consistently to those complaints and issues, which there again supports the idea of having additional professionals in the HR department, because currently with the 2 that you have, that would be a little overwhelming. And secondly is to, so I said one was to centralize it, and then the second part of that was to have the trend data reported to the board. So with that, as I said, there were several other minor details. There's probably 50 or more recommendations, but some of those were very, as I said, minor. So with that, any questions or comments?
Thank you. I will recognize the board members in case they have a question. Mr. LaFoyle. Ms. Adair.
Thank you. Just one general question. When you, I took notes on the highlights that you covered. Did you review our I-9 program?
No, we did not, because that is, as we talked with both Dr. Black and with Ms. Howard, that is in process. I understand, and that was one of the areas I looked at carefully, is that the plan is to have some assistance from the USIS department, who will come in voluntarily, not to penalize, but to assist. And we've heard of other districts doing that. So one of the things that's in process is that's being done both on of going out and making sure all your I-9s are in order, properly filled out. And we did make a recommendation, and as I say, this is something that I see across the state, is some recommendations on how to handle signing off on the validity of documents. And so we did look at some of that.
How about the workman's comp program?
No, we did not. That's not our area of expertise. That would be something from TASB Risk Management. so did not look at that.
And the last question I had in our unemployment claims, do that fall under your area as
No,
well?
it does not. That would be
So can you tell me, in a brief, I don't want you to tell me how much he charges. I'm not asking you that. We already know that we're short, and we know that we need to pay our people more.
in terms of compensation plan?
Yes.
Okay.
So, without sounding impolite, because that's not my intent, but I do want to ask you the question.
Sure.
What actual benefit do you think was served by having the audit done?
We prefer to call it, because audit goes along with the financial,
Okay.
the review. The advantage, or what you bought for that, so to speak, is one, helping the department have a roadmap of how they can take things to the next level.
Okay.
Often it is, especially with the number of issues that your administrators are handling, is some of the small details get lost. And so this allows them to put an action plan together to become a more strategic partner.
So you help them with that, with processes and that kind of thing?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Mr. Macias.
Well, thank you for taking time to look at our district. We had a risk assessment done several months ago, and that risk assessment identified multiple of areas, but 3 that were critical in their opinion. HR was one of them. And so obviously we needed to have this process done. I will say that as a board member, I would have liked to have had an opportunity to sit down with you as well. I do notice the list of people that were interviewed have a stake in the HR process, and obviously you want to interview them. But as board members, we're regularly hearing from employees, and their questions, if not anything, just for us to have our own questions answered about protocol and processes. The bottom line for me, and why I felt it was important that we look at HR as well, is because we need to retain our employees. So I don't know if you provided a strategic plan for employee retention beyond this document that we have. But that's obviously the point to looking at HR. What are we doing that is not keeping our employees in the district? And if there's something with processes that we're missing, hopefully you've identified them in this particular audit. So that being said, you had mentioned about doing a comparable study with other districts. Is there attrition rate higher, lower, the same? I mean, because that's really the bottom line for me. We're losing employees, and we need to retain them here. So how does that look compared to other districts? Are we holding on to our employees, or are we losing them?
We didn't look at that detail as far as one of the reasons is we didn't have good data to look at. It's, lacking the technology systems to track a lot of things. But we did not look and do that extensive comparison. We were looking more at the higher level processes. I can say one of the issues that we've identified for your retention is your compensation plan and the salary levels that you have currently. What we're seeing in the San Antonio area and across the state is many districts are moving to minimum of a 2% to 3% raise this year after the last couple of years of having no increases. That and the numbers are in the as far as what your current salaries are, how they are going to compare to your area. That is probably going to be one of the number one issues that will cause you to lose people, is particularly with the movement of staff within San Antonio.
Well, and obviously would like to look deeper at that as we move forward, and of course listening to Ms. Howard and Dr. Mackey in terms of what those recommendations might be. And I will agree with you. Ms. Howard and her staff have done a phenomenal job based on what they've been served. And it sounds like we have we don't have the maximum professionals in HR to truly do the job, is what it sounds like you're telling me. Did I hear that correctly?
Yes.
But on average, that's pretty much a problem across the state.
As what is on average?
Where you have you don't have a full plate of employees working in HR.
If you have that, yes. And if you'll see the districts that we compared, all had more staff. The other thing I'd like to point out that we did work on earlier this year that was a separate report was your employee opinion survey. And that's going to give you more information about your employees' attitudes and the things that they value here in Judson. And once again, what we saw, because it was we also did the survey, I believe, in 2010. And one of the main issues that was rated much lower this time in 2012 was, once again, and I'm not meaning to beat it, is your compensation plan. Employees' opinions on that really dropped and felt that they were not being paid fairly for the work that they were doing.
Well, where I was going with the lack of people in seats, if you will, in HR, is did you compare years of experience with HR? Again, Ms. Howard's done a great job based on what she's had, but do other HR departments have longer tenured professionals? And, I mean, could that help? I'm just throwing that out there.
It's across the board. One of the reasons we have been in existence for almost 30 years is because there is a great deal of turnover in HR. So we don't track that, but across the board you have brand new people, tenured people. It's just across the board.
So if we were to move forward with your recommendations, would it be, Dr. Mackey, would you be making taking the next steps for us?
Yes.
And just from my own curiosity, what is the difference between having an internal audit on HR compared to what audit you just conducted for our district?
I don't understand the question. Could you rephrase?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, we had a risk assessment done, which was an internal audit of the district. And one of the things that I've personally been wanting to push forward is an internal audit of HR, which it sounds like you did an audit of HR, but what is the difference between an internal audit and what you did?
I'm not familiar with the process which Gibson used. So just based on what I saw in their report, they didn't do a detailed look at HR.
It was just a general 90-day deal.
Where ours, we call it a review because an audit seems to be punitive, and we're not there to penalize or to be a gotcha and look for things that are wrong. We're there, in most cases, invited to identify improvements so the department can become more strategic. So in a sense, you can call it a review, as we do come in and look at all the systems.
I wouldn't want you to hold back. I mean, if you're going to review a department, I want a stringent look at our department. So I'm hoping that you looked deeply and didn't hold back and say, we don't want to make people feel bad.
No.
I mean, it's really what we've got to be doing.
No, not at all. And that's, I'm very confident. We looked at all your systems.
Well, thank you for your input. Appreciate that.
Mr. LaFoyle?
Yes, I got one quick question. Mr. Matthias brought up the thing on critical. Is there anything critically wrong with our HR?
Absolutely not.
Thank you.
Mr. Flores?
Thank you. My question is really in regard to the survey done. I know you did it online, right?
The customer survey?
Yes.
Okay,
well,
yes.
The employees, yeah. Was that done? What I'm getting a lot of is people feel like, oh, I don't want to put it in because they'll see who this is.
Okay.
Do you all do a paper survey?
No, we do. We can, with the number of employees. When we do a survey, as in the employee opinion survey, the only time we use paper surveys is if someone doesn't have access to the technology. With your principals, because they all had access to the technology, and assistant principals, we do it online and it's all done through our office. None of it comes through your equipment or anything else in order to keep anonymity.
I understand that, but still people have this perception that, hey, it can be followed. I work for the city of San Antonio, and we just did an employee survey. And, they just gave it to us. We filled it out, sealed it, and put it in a box. They don't know whose is whose, but it seems to me like that would give us more input from people. And,
It's going to be the comfortability of people answering, or how they answer is, we have no way, certainly if we spent an hour to track down a person, we might be able to, but we do not even look at where it comes from. It's all random access numbers and...
Again, I understand that, but it's a perception of anything done on the computer, somebody knows who's done it. And that's just the way of the world is today, you know, so... but what I feel that would help, because I know we don't get the turnout that we really need, you know, to get a good assessment.
Your turnout was about 61% of the principals who were invited, or administrators who were invited, which is about norm for any of the surveys that we do.
Okay. Thank you. That's all I have.
Mr. Salyer.
Thank you. I read through the whole report, and what I say is I like your process of looking at processes. That's how you save money, looking at processes. It's not audits or anything like this, but looking at processes, and it's sort of like, well, why do you do it this way? And people say, well, that's why we've always done it that way, you know. But by going in and looking at the processes of how you do, that's value added to getting things done cheaper, better, and easier. And I think when I read through it, I kept saying, yeah, we know that, yeah, we know that. But sometimes someone else telling you what you already know really is added value, okay? We know we undercompensate our employees. We know we're behind the curve in technology. But the other good thing I like hearing is we have no critical mass. Ms. Howard's done a good job. She knows I go with her 100%. But I like the process of your process, you know, going through there and looking at why do we do things the way we do it. I'm going through the same process with another organization I'm part of, too. And they said, well, that's the way we've always done it. So a good job. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Ms. Williams.
I don't have any questions. Just thank you for your time and your efforts. And it like Steve had said, it's allowing us to be a little more proactive, too, to identify areas where we can do better. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I do have a couple of questions. On one of your, it says administrative support and training. Provide PADAS update training for campus administrators on an annual basis. I know they used to do that. Obviously, we had stopped doing that or something. Otherwise, I don't think you would have put that here. Correct. Because I know that they do it in Region 20, but I was not aware that they had stopped that process of training the administrators on the PADAS. So I hope that this is going to be one of the things that they're going to be looking into.
Okay.
On number 5, well, I'll just read it so that way you probably
okay.
know. I'm on page 2. Provide employees and new hires with a means of restricting personal information from public disclosure. And again, I know that we've been doing that. When the new hires come in, you have the option of saying, do you want your data to be released or shared or something? Obviously, you must have found something to put here that's one of the things that you would like to see, that a new form. Obviously, the form we're not using, maybe it's not as detailed as you would like.
We didn't see evidence of that all, and it is being done. That may be our error then, because as we went through personnel files, we didn't see any of those forms, and they were not included. What we were given, it was not included in the new hire packet.
If I may address that, it is part of our online confirmation that they do. So we are collecting that data electronically as part of the online new employee orientation process. So we've been collecting it. Prior to this year, we collected it on paper cards they filled out, but that information has now been transferred to an electronic database.
Okay. And we did not have access to those databases because they're proprietary to your
on page 3, number 7, eliminate board approval for new teacher hires during the school year to speed up the process in time.
Okay.
I, for one, would say definitely maybe hire the employee, take him through the process, and then the next board meeting, just we can approve those contracts. I'm a little confused. In other words, what I'm reading here is that nobody can start working until we approve the contract. And obviously, that's the process we've been following.
Correct.
And definitely, I'm one that would say, oh my God, yes, definitely. I know during the summer, we do authorize the HR to go ahead and hire for the areas that are most needed, special ed, math, science, okay? And I don't think the board has a problem with that. So definitely, if we have to do that, I'm pretty sure Dr. Mackey will make some recommendations for us, because I definitely would like that, okay? Thank you for bringing us up to date on the grievance thing that I felt it was too much information. But just the month of, let's say, April. Oh, yeah, we had 2 grievances, period. That's all we need to know. We don't need to know name, place, what, when, where, okay? But it's just, oh, by the way, we received 3 grievances or whatever.
And the issue, or what I didn't explain as part of that, is getting too much information beforehand.
I understand.
The commissioner has overturned grievances based on that process.
Yes, ma'am.
And
That's
that would
what
be my
I'm saying.
concern for you. Yes.
And I'm pretty sure Dr. Mackey will direct the board what we need to do on that, okay? Oh. No, ma'am. You said you interviewed principals. I only see 3.
Correct.
It's the elementary that fits to the middle school, and the middle school that fits to the high school. I wish that it would have been divided. You know, 1 elementary from here, 1 middle school from there, and 1 high school, okay?
And as I said, those were we just asked for 3 to be
Exactly.
presented, so.
Yes, and that was not your doing. Yes, but I'm just saying we should have divided that. Okay, I think I have one more minute. Now, by the way, this was an excellent report, okay? And believe me, I know that the HR department goes over and beyond to provide the information when we ask for it. Sometimes maybe we ask for too much, but they're always ready, and they always provide the board, whatever board member. They're on top of things, and I am glad you're recommending that they are shorthanded. Yes, I know. I've been saying we need more people, in that one. Now, one of them, you said there was a paraprofessional doing the job of a professional. Is that what I interpreted here?
What you have is, because you're lacking in professionals, that your paraprofessionals are having to step up and assume responsibilities that are typically given to professionals, as far as your hiring process and your screening and those type of things.
Oh, okay. And as far as the HR having 1 person there for the, I think it's the second round of the grievance, I think that's an excellent idea.
And that's a typical process in many districts.
Oh, okay. Oh, thank you for giving us that. Okay, I think. The one that I couldn't understand on page 19, reduce the number of unique duty calendars. I was confused.
This goes along with employees in different positions working a different number of days.
Okay.
And so you have an extreme amount of unique calendars with only 1 person within the schedule. And that causes a lot of confusion with those work calendars and makes it very difficult to manage for HR. And so that's where it's trying to get more consistency in start dates and end dates for the number of days that a person is expected to work.
And Dr. Mackey has been trying to instill that we need to do cross-training. Would it make it better, the cross-training, by having just that 1 unique calendar instead of different calendars?
You're not going to it doesn't have anything to do with your cross-training.
Okay.
This is it's not for HR, it's across the district for all staff.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, it's not your HR staff, it's all your other employees who work a different number of days in the year.
Okay, well, thank you again very, very much. I believe Ms. Adair had one more question.
He tried to limit me to 1, but I was listening to I wrote it down after listening to Mr. Salyer. We had a changeover in our personnel technology that we were using, and some of the complaints I received was that when we changed over, we lost applications. And so people that had applied that were in the old system didn't get transferred to the new system, and people thought they were on and they weren't. When you have this recommendation about technology, are the programs such that they allow for a seamless transfer so that you don't lose data?
No, they don't. One of the issues we see, and it's not unique to your district, is that the different systems you have in place for, say, your application system, your substitute system, your payroll system, and your HR data system is they don't interface. And that's one of the biggest issues. So there's a lot of manual data entry. That isn't necessarily what happened with the changeover to Talent Ed, but I don't think that's that uncommon.
When I was asking you earlier, did you look at our FMLA program? Was that an area you looked at?
Yes, and I did not see issues with that.
Okay, so we are following the procedures and the processes.
Yes. I will tell you that's one of my areas of expertise is leave management, and this is probably the shortest leave section I've ever written in a report.
Cool. Great. And then lastly, when you said you were looking at processes, and my only concern is when you don't do a random selection. You know, we give you a list of our employees. I used to work with the Inspector General, and we didn't allow the commanders of the units to pick who we talked to. We asked for a company roster, and then we would randomly pick people, and we'd tell the commander, we want to see Private Brown, we want to see Captain Smith, and we would randomly, because when it's a random selection by the person doing the look-through, then I'm more comfortable that it wasn't a predetermined. When you looked at the processes, you looked at our processes on paper, right? Did you talk to any of the employees about the processes that you saw and say, okay, this is what we have in paper? Is this, when you were hired, tell me what happened. Did they balance, or was this strictly a paper process look through?
As far as our entire process for the review? No, most of what the information we gathered, we get the most information from our staff interviews, and we interviewed every person in HR as well as some of your payroll and finance staff, and that's how we gather most our information, and to see if it coincides with the forms, because mainly what we're looking for the paper processes is that your policy is consistent with practice. Things such as is the information in your employee handbook, what we see in practice as well as policy. And so, as I said, most of the information was from staff interviews. That's why we spent the 2 days talking to every staff member.
Okay, no further questions? Thank you very much for that report, ma'am. We appreciate you coming over here.
And we appreciate the opportunity to work with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Work, Dr. Mackey, summer work schedule.
Okay. Mr. President, Board, looking at the 2013 summer schedule, you know, every year we have a summer schedule, and what I like to do is present to you a different summer schedule than we normally have. And from June the 10th through August the 9th, Monday through Thursday, from 8 to 5:30, close on Friday, and holidays will be July the 4th and 5th. Just information. I just want to share with y'all. That was it.
Okay, thank you, sir. All right. Item B, District Improvement Plan. Dr. Mackey.
Okay, Ms. Barra, if you, Ms. Barra has been working on the District Improvement Plan. If you have any questions, Ms. Barra, be sure to answer any questions on the District Improvement Plan. Do you have any highlights on the District Improvement Plan that we've changed, Ms. Barra?
district improvement plan was reviewed by the district site-based committee. They went through it all, and they asked several questions, especially on the curriculum and instruction area, and they were very pleased with all the initiatives that we have, especially those that related to college and career initiatives.
Okay. Thank you.
Next item. Review and update of the district energy management program.
Okay, Mr. Raspberry will be coming up with Mr. Kirshner, and they'll give us a brief review of this, our district energy program.
He's got some updated information coming around to you now.
This one's going to
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. We're working on it. Okay, good evening, Mr. President, Dr. Mackey, members of the board, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to talk briefly about what we've done so far. This is a synopsis for our energy management plan, phase 1. I believe I've got about 5 slides here. Any questions that you have when we get finished, I'll be happy to answer them. What we do is we follow an EPA guideline, 7 steps basically to success in any energy management program. And the 7 steps are obviously make the commitment, assessing performance, which we've already done, setting goals, which is an ongoing task for us, an objective, creating a plan, which we have all the way out for 3 years, implementing the plan, which we've already started as of 1 September, evaluating the progress, which is done on an ongoing basis, and recognizing achievement. So these are the steps that we follow, kind of a roadmap for success for energy management here in the district. Some of the key components that drive the energy management program here, facility benchmarking. We've benchmarked every facility in the district, not just the educational facilities, but all the ancillary facilities as well. Every facility has been benchmarked. Basically what I did during the benchmark process was what we consider an ASHRAE Level 1 walkthrough, where I evaluate energy consumption, natural resource consumption. We look at the mechanical systems. We look at the lighting systems. It's basically a 20,000-foot overview of what it is that we do in energy management. That's what consists of the benchmarking. That was done within the first 60 days of my being in the position. Utility tracking software. We use a third-party software program to actually track our utility consumption across the district. We enter the data from CPS, from SAWS, from all the municipalities, from Tiger Waste, from all of our vendors, in which we actually pay for services. We enter that information in the computer monthly, and then it automatically puts it up there. It's real-time tracking. I have set goals within in a budget within the energy management program, and so it tracks that for me. So on any given month, I can tell where we're at as a percentage to our goal in energy management. And so we use the utility tracking software. It's got a lot of neat bells and whistles. We can generate reports. It's a pretty good tool, and it helps us out a lot. Building automation systems. These are the 2 different systems that we utilize across the district to operate controls. We have 2 different front-end systems, and so using the building automation system makes it a lot easier for us to regulate HVAC issues and that sort of thing. Before we can do anything in energy management, we have to establish baseline numbers. Everything that we do in energy management is predicated on these numbers. What we did is we took electricity and water consumption from the school fiscal year 2010-2011, 2011-2012. We added those numbers together, and we took an average of those numbers in order to establish a baseline moving forward. This will be the baseline for the district, with the exception of adding new square footage with new schools. Then it'll change based on that square footage. But these are the numbers based on the current conditions in the district. These are the numbers that we've established for our baseline. So, total combined baseline for energy and water consumption throughout the district is $4,027,888.18. Everything we do in energy management is data driven, and so you'll notice I don't round anything off. Pennies count. Our allocation breakout, now that we've established our baseline, we've committed to a 5% reduction in energy consumption in year 2. So that'll begin next school fiscal year. 5% of that baseline number is $201,394.40. Then we're going to have an allocation breakout. Where is that money that we have saved the district? How is that going to be divided or divvied up amongst the district, and what are we going to use it for? 60% of that money is going to stay in energy management to fund our department. We are and will continue to be a self-funded department. Okay? What we earn stays with us. We pay for ourselves, and then we split the money up as such. 20% is captured for the fund balance. It stays with the district. So that is for the district to spend however they want to spend it. That goes back to you. 10% goes to the schools in the way of fund incentives and performance payouts. This is where we establish contests and things like this to get everybody involved. And in the schools that excel will be rewarded for excelling in the way of money, and so a monetary return to the schools. 10% will be set aside for future rate increases with CPS. This next school fiscal year, we have not received word from CPS as to whether or not we're going to have a rate increase in our district. But it's coming. It's just a matter of time. So we have to set some money aside to help pay for an increase in rates with CPS and SAWS. Any new facility that we add after this year will be funded at $1.05 a square foot. That's what we're currently funding our facilities at now. We're not asking for any additional monies. We're going to take what we have. We're going to take the new schools, and we're going to go to work making them as efficient as we can if we don't make them efficient when we build them. That's another one of the responsibilities of energy management as well. A plan for growth. Some of the things that we're going to do next year, we're going to create some self-funded positions. Not only myself, an HVAC technician and coil cleaner. This will be aside from what happens in maintenance. These people will do some things that will help us with energy efficiency across the district. A building automation controls technician, a journeyman electrician to help us with delamping, lighting retrofits, those sorts of things. And so those, again, will be part of the energy management department and again, self-funded. Where we are today, some of the things that we've accomplished since 1 September in the district. All facilities have been benchmarked. We are Energy Star Portfolio Manager, Energy Watchdog, and we are an Energy Star Partner. We've been approved by the EPA for our efforts thus far in reducing energy consumption across the district. Monthly energy committee meetings, we have those monthly either online or we have them in person with our committee. We've conducted our second vampire walk. These are all always prior to a break in the school year where we identify certain schools. We split into groups. We walk the schools and we look for what we call a vampire load, things that are plugged in, things that don't need to be plugged in. Even when they're turned off, we recognize that there's still a slow draw of electricity. So we get people in the right mindset, making sure that we're unplugging certain things, with the exception of things that technology will have us keep plugged in, like network printers and such. Energy management web page and logo we've already created so that we can shout out what we're doing to the district. You can access us through the district website. Under operations, you'll see another tab for energy management. I invite you to go there. I try to keep that updated as frequently as I can so that folks can see what we're doing. We do have the only 100% recycling program in San Antonio currently. So that's something that Judson can be proud of. There are other single-stream programs around, but nobody other than Hartman Elementary in our district is doing a 100% recycling program. So we're proud of that. We're going to continue to pilot this program through the end of the school year. Then we'll roll out next year in phases, usually 4 to 5 schools per phase. We'll roll them out after we develop some best practices after this pilot. We're diverting right now currently about 85% of the waste that was going to Covell Gardens and other landfills is being diverted and is being recycled. occupancy sensing lighting controls pilot in Judson High School. Hopefully we've got 2 new schools coming online in the near future. We're looking at a way to be more energy efficient with respect to the controls in the buildings. And so we actually asked for some people to step forward at no cost to the district and help us with a pilot program. We're utilizing their products in the school so we can see how they work. We've developed scorecards, and so that we can score these on serviceability, how tough they are, or whether or not they're doing what they say they're doing. We have a list of things that we're scoring their products on, and we're doing that pilot right now so that we make sure as we move forward in new construction scenarios, we're using the right products. De-lamping program at select campuses. That's something that we're currently doing, which will actually save the district. The campuses that we're doing now will save the district about $19,000 a year in de-lamping. Okay? We've done an audit of some of our building automation systems in 4 different schools: Spring Meadows, Millers Point, Wood Lake Middle School, and Kitty Hawk Middle School. We've gotten all the results back from the third party that did the audit for us, and we're going to take action on the items that are within our capability to take action on. Recognition program. Like I said, we have the recycling program, Vampire Walk. We're getting out in front of the schools. We're inviting the teachers and the administrators that are part of this. We're giving them certificates of recognition, getting the pictures, putting them on the website, but we're making sure that the school leadership or the campus leadership knows that we're recognizing folks in their school for a job well done. District-wide standards for heating and cooling set points. This has been something that has escaped the district for quite a few years. We have now established a very firm guideline for heating and cooling set points. This will save the district just over $100,000 a year by sticking to the set points. I'm sorry? Set points are 69 for heating and 75 for cooling, with a 2-degree differential one way or the other with approval through energy management. Okay? If you remember when I first came to visit you folks, I said that everybody was up here talking about money going out of the district, and I was here to talk about money coming in. As of 1 September, we have saved the district $110,253.54. That's our number as of 1 April. We have a 3% goal for this year, even though it's not up there. We're talking about a 5% reduction for year 2. But my personal goal was 3% for this year with no money to spend, just a simple awareness program. And currently we're 91% to our goal and have 90 days left. So our 3% goal is $120,000. We're currently sitting at $110,253.54. So this is what we've generated out of energy management this year. District-wide standards for appliance and lamp usage. This again is something that's kind of gotten loose from the district. We've now gone back and we have said to the teachers, if using lamps and other ancillary devices in your classroom as part of your teaching style, that's fine. We're not here to take them away. We're just going to help manage what you have in your classroom. Make sure we're not getting out of control with 6, 7, 8, 9 lamps, string lamps, lava lamps, and all these other things that are a drawdown on our electricity. Okay? So we're not taking them away. We're just helping manage them for the folks. Okay. So that's really where we're at. That's a brief synopsis of everything that we've done in the last 7 months. Thank you.
Mr. Flores. I'm going to recognize every board member. Mr. Flores.
I just want to say thank you very much. I thought that was I think you're doing a great job. You know, like Mr. Dare said earlier, you know, the proof is in the pudding, and you're making some good pudding right now. Thank you.
You can't argue with the numbers.
That's right.
Mr. Sally.
Yes, sir. Obviously, I like it. Saving money, paying your salary. That's great. But the important thing, the overview, what I see from this is you're using the carrot and the stick to promote cultural change, and that's the only way you can do it. You can't walk in and say, "Turn off that light." You got to promote cultural change. The carrot and that stick. You know, I would, and Nancy's going to kill me for this, but I would like to see, you know, some sort of small energy management curriculum for every kid in the school where we could take this and push that cultural change out in the, you know, to the community. And, you know, maybe we get some kind of reward from CPS or somebody say, hey, Judson's, you know, we're promoting this to our kids. I know I'm going to get shot. I'm not even going to look that way.
No, actually, to your point, there is a plethora of K through 12 energy curriculum out there. We could spend all night sitting here sorting through it. I mean, there's really so much out there. There is a certain segment of this curriculum that has been tried and has been shown to be effective in Texas schools. I have all of that. We plan on introducing that into the curriculum next year in some form or fashion. I don't know how it's going to happen this year, but it'll happen next year.
I'm getting stared at. But I mean, I guess my side point here is, approach CPS and say, hey, if we do this, give us some money. Because they did our light bulbs, before you got here, they did our retrofitting of our lights, and we paid up front, and we got a check for that. I mean, I would love for CPS to pay for that, right, Nancy?
We currently are banging away at CPS pretty regularly to make sure that we're getting everything that we can possibly get out of them because we are a huge customer. And we currently have sitting on the table over there right now a 60 kilowatt solar PV array system for Millers Point. And some other things. So we've got some things over there. We're just waiting to see, if they're going to, how much money they're going to free up for us. But we're constantly looking for ways. Same goes for saws. Water conservation. We're constantly looking at that.
Williams.
Just like Steve, I'm very excited to see all that you guys are doing, and poor Nancy, I agree completely with them. But and on a side note, you said that you're looking for ways even to implement it, and it's funny you say that just because one of my own children came home today with a pamphlet from the school talking about celebrating Earth Day, ways to conserve energy at home and school, and all these suggestions, and it made for very good conversation for my 7-year-old. So I think that that's obviously a great place to start. But I agree, incorporate it because it really is a change of mindset, and it's a lot of times I think things should start at home, but sometimes it starts at school, and we push it in the other direction to help change it.
It's going both ways.
Absolutely.
She brought it home to you.
She did, which is impressive for her. All right. Thank you very much.
We are waiting till just about the end of the pilot, and Tiger Waste, Tiger Sanitation, who is our third-party partner in this, and by the way, let me mention that they stepped forward to conduct this 90-day pilot at no cost to the district. This is a learning curve for them as well. They understand that this is the direction that the industry is going in, so this is kind of we scratch their back, they scratch ours. They're helping us with this pilot program, and as a result, they're developing their own best practices should other school districts step up after we've rolled out our program, at least they'll have the kinks worked out of the program. I don't know exactly what that cost is going to be. Mr. Ashmore and myself have sat down and run some numbers, but we're not going to be able to have a hard number, which is what I prefer to have. I don't like to do approximates. A hard number won't be forthcoming until the end of the pilot program, I'm afraid, but I'll keep you posted.
You talk about solar energy. I know there used to be a big
Yeah, there's a little bit of squabbling back and forth right now between some of the Texas solar installers, some of the solar companies, and CPS. CPS is sitting on roughly $10 million of rebate money, but they're not being as forthcoming with the rebate money as they used to be. But there still are rebates that are out there for solar panel installation. As a matter of fact, currently we have a friend of the district that is a nonprofit, in addition to a NABCEP solar installer, assessing our different schools, looking for opportunities to get free money. That's happening as we speak. Well, sometimes it's not really a matter of spinning your meter backwards, so to speak. If you're grid tied, it's just a matter of reducing the amount of money that you're paying out. And if you can do that, then that's a win-win actually. That's okay.
I'm excited. I have to tell you honestly, Mr. Kirshner tried to get this position for a long time, and I was like, no more positions, and he said it would pay for itself, and so if I'm wrong, I publicly admit I'm wrong. Fantastic job. Not if Richard thinks I'm wrong, just if I'm really wrong.
Let me throw this number out at you. In our fourth year, our goal is to bring back to the district $573,000 in our fourth year of operation as energy management. Okay, so that's looking forward in our projected numbers. That number's out there for our fourth year. You're welcome.
Mr. Maciel.
Wrong button. Okay. Impressive. Thank you. I guess as long as I'm on this board, I'll still wonder if we've made a good choice, but apparently you are doing a great job, and thank you for that service. It does sound like you mentioned to a question I was going to ask about sustainability in terms of what the projected savings was. So there is a 4-year projected, and I think you said almost $500,000. Did I hear that correctly?
Yeah, about 573 and some change. I don't have that.
Okay.
Normally I haven't committed to memory, but I don't have that one committed because it's 4 years out.
And so that means you're looking further down the road.
Absolutely.
And so that's all very positive stuff. Now, Dr. Mackey, with the savings, I don't know what we're going to do with it, but we should probably talk about that at some point. So we have savings to use.
You guys have your own chunk.
So that's good.
Do
Well,
with it
talk
what
about
you will.
when we get to that level.
Oh, that's he still
Anyway.
plans on keeping it 60%.
I see. Well, thank you. Thank you
Well,
very
yeah,
much.
because again, the only department, this will be the only standing
It's no
department
fun.
in the district that pays for itself every year. It's self-generating. Okay, and so we're not costing anybody any money. We're out there hustling to save money for the district so that we can continue to grow that number. I mean, it just grows every year. It snowballs. It's a beautiful thing.
When the idea was brought to us, I kept telling myself, we gotta do it. And I'm glad Dr. Mackey said, yes, this is my recommendation. Probably one of the best reports that I've ever had. And even when I used to attend the meetings, you were very thorough. You had your numbers. And I'm telling you, the moment I met you, sir, if you recall, it so happened you came outside and you introduced yourself, and right away you told me what your plans were, and I said, wow. I was very, very impressed, and I'm still very impressed with the things, the way are going. You're already talking savings. We're going to save this. The other one was you took the averaging because CPS gives you the option, at least on the homes, to do the averaging, and that has been one of the best choices I ever made. As far as you will be making recommendations to Dr. Mackey, as far as your personnel or whatever, and I'm telling you, sir, I am ready to support this department 100%. I'm telling you, sir, you will get my support. Thank you very much. Oh, by the way, you need to thank your staff too, sir. I know that you have a small staff or whatever, but so far they're moving along real good.
You know, and let me just take that opportunity. I was waiting until everybody was done to recognize Andy Mendez. Andy Mendez is our control. Jimenez, I'm sorry.
All right, Andy.
Yeah, exactly. But he does a wonderful job. There's just, you know what? There's just no way we would be where we're at this early in the game if it weren't for how hard he works. So, and I tell him every day I try to.
It's great to have ex-students, sir, that come back and work for the district because they know the district. They live here and they dedicate themselves. It's always been a dedicated employee.
What I tell people is that unlike in the private sector where you have shareholders, our shareholders here are taxpayers. So I have a responsibility just like in the private sector. I've got a responsibility to try to return savings or the investment gets to return the ROI to the taxpayers.
Thank you, sir.
And so that's the way we look at it.
Yes, sir, Mr. LaFoe.
Mr. Salinas, are you going to feel the same way when you come in next meeting, and there's pedals under here to run the generator to keep our lights on?
Yes, sir. Okay. Thank you very, very much, sir, for the outstanding report. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Item
Item D, board operating procedure has been pulled. E, college readiness, Mr. Macias. And I think we have a report on that.
Yeah, I think we do as well. This is just in follow-up to our program review, where I think Ms. Robinson had mentioned some initiatives that they were looking at. So just wanted to kind of put that out there and just start
Well, and
that
I
discussion.
wanted to tell you one thing, Mr. Macias. We brought it tonight because we waited the week. I had a week, and we couldn't get a hold of Johnson. I called their district office, and they didn't know anything about what they were doing at that high school. I was actually with their associate superintendent yesterday, and their school improvement executive director, neither one knew. The head of counseling did not know, and we've called the school all week, and we're
The
unable.
principal?
Couldn't get a call back.
I see.
I think because EOCs are next week, and the academic dean was tied up. So I promise you, we will get through to them. I'm sure after next week, they'll be easier to reach, because it's going to have to be the school, because the
Yeah.
district office is unaware. So then I will put something together and bring it to you as soon as I can get it. We can send it in the Friday packet.
Okay.
Thank you,
Okay.
ma'am.
Thank you.
Mr. Macias. Oh, anybody else?
No.
Okay, F, fraud and abuse
Wait. The other question I had, sorry, was about the Princeton review, or anything to that regard about any further information about that.
That's something that we're going to be discuss at the budget review, because we have to show the funding for that, and want to know if the board is willing to approve that.
There were several type of college readiness prep that you had mentioned in the initiative. Princeton was one of them. What was another one?
Well, we talked about the possibility of giving SAT all.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of the districts in town are doing that next year. Some are waiting one more year in order to prep teachers so that it's done and implemented. Northside's going to wait one year. Southwest is doing it next year. It's the SAT Day program. And so there's some recommendations when we bring a budget and costs associated with it. So
Okay.
you'll be receiving that shortly.
Thank you.
F, fraud and abuse hotline update. Mr. Macias.
Yes, still excited to have it. I know that we haven't been flooded with any calls or anything that are not calls, but information about calls specifically. But I just wanted to be clear. My expectation was that we would probably receive a report if we had calls come in, so we could at least have an idea of what the nature of some of these calls are. Am I understanding that correctly? Okay. And I noticed the report has one call, and that's good. I guess my only thing to bring that up was that perhaps we need to promote it. I mean, again, I know it's a deterrent, so we're not expecting to have 100 calls, and that's good. But, maybe our employees are not aware. I've talked with some that were oblivious to the fact that there was an anonymous toll-free tip line. And so I don't know if we want to reevaluate how we're promoting it. I know that it was put on the newsletter that we sent out, but I don't know if it needs to be clearer on the website or any of that thing, just to make sure that our employees are keenly aware that there is a fraud and abuse hotline available to them.
G, bond election update. Mr. Macias.
Yes, bonding. Thank you. I just wanted to, clarify the oversight. I'm out there talking to people about oversight on the bond, and this is what I'm saying. So you got to tell me if I'm wrong. What I'm saying essentially is we have oversight on the bond. It's all, it's what we've done, a committee, but it's pretty much the same thing we had in 2010 or 2006, the last time we had a bond. So I want to make sure that we're all talking the same, and if that's, if I'm accurate or inaccurate in that response. So if you could just tell me again what that oversight looks like again for this current bond, Dr. Mackey.
Okay, the oversight, we have a committee right now that is promoting the bond outside. That they are saying that they're going to be the oversight committee. That's one thing. And then we have an employee within the district that we hired that will be doing the same thing, and she'll be monitoring the all bond funding within the district. And of course, all funding is audited through an outside audit agent at the end of the year, each year.
External audit, right?
External auditor,
yeah.
Yes.
And the other thing that I thought was curious about the bond when looking at the material, it says, bring the pride back or something like that on the signage. And so it just made me think a little bit about where the pride may have gone. So if it's gone and we haven't identified what those issues are, Question, comment,
yes.
concern, discussion?
I read the sign, the same thing. That's the committee put that together. I don't know anything about who did it, why, or what. It just.
Wait, is that's the committee that's outside of board?
Yes.
Yeah. So I don't really think we should discuss what
I know
that
we
committee
should.
is doing.
Yeah, I don't know anything.
We can only discuss what the administration is doing in regards to the bond. Is that
Well, I appreciate that clarification. I'm glad that, again, it wasn't in our area.
No,
So
we
now
don't think
I
we
know
did.
where that originated from, but it is telling. So I guess that's all I have in terms of the bond elections going forward, and I guess that's it. Thank you.
H, Texas Education, TEA report on special education. Mr. Macias.
Yes. I just wanted some information on that. We did have the TEA have a review.
Ms. Bear, just
Actually, it was the report was not only on special education, but it was all on CATE, bilingual ESL, and the No Child Left Behind. And the report that you have in your board book addresses all the areas that they looked at and the recommendations that they're making. There were 2 areas that they really wanted us to work on, and so right now my department is getting all the information that they requested. It's due by April 30th, and we should have it in to them by that date.
Okay.
Stay there.
Thank you. So, Dr. Mackey, based on what the report received and what Ms. Bear just stated, if there's any shortfalls in funding that address any of these issues, you'll be bringing that forward in the budget?
yes,
Okay.
there are some that we will bring forward in the budget.
We already did the HRIJ. Policy BDB, local board internal organization, internal committees, Salinas. This is, I think we discussed this last board meeting into, after we had that meeting with the other committees, it was recommended that we have, break it down to 2 committees, one being the curriculum and long range, and the other one being the finance and the building and construction committee. So, and we discussed it, and I think we might want to hear some more from the board members if they have something that maybe they would like to add or delete or whatever. Anybody? Me say there.
Thank you, Mr. Salinas. I spoke with some of the committee members from that committee, and I won't be supporting that. The areas are too broad, and they're really not connected. Maybe we haven't done as well as we should have. However, the curriculum committee is curriculum and has, and they received really good support from Ms. Robinson. The couple of meetings I was present was really good. The Finance Committee, Mr. Elizondo and Mr. Ashmore, that was going great. I didn't attend very many of your committees or Mr. Flores. I only attended one of Mr. Flores. And I don't think I attended any of yours, Mr. Salinas, but I think the policy as we have it is what's standard across the districts, and I won't be able to support combining those into 2. I don't think the participation is going to be any greater. I think there'll be more confusion about what the role or what the committee is looking into, and so I won't be supporting that.
Thank you. Well, Mr. Macias.
Also, I think that what will help the structure is that we do open them up to employees that live in the district. And I think at our last discussion, I did ask Dr. Mackey if these committees were available to our employees, and he gave affirmation that they were. So if that's the case, we probably need to do a recruitment effort within the district to let employees be a part of these committees as well before we decide, hey, this isn't working. Just my thought.
Okay, buddy. Mr. Flores. Oh, I'm sorry, sir. Go ahead. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't even look at the monitor, sir.
I said before, and I'll say it again. we want to get people out for these committees, we need to go to PTO meetings. We need to address the actual parents to get them interested. Otherwise, we're just going to have dead committees like we got.
Also, I agree, we have to, we open this up to everybody. We advertise that we want people to come. The first meeting, you'll have a fair number, but then it's usually the same people on all the committees, and we want to get a more diverse group in all of the committees, because that's what's needed. And that's a great idea Richard is having about, going to the PTOs and stuff. But there again, the PTOs are strongest in the elementaries. As you move up, you just don't, the kids don't want their parents there at the school, basically. But it's tougher, So, not only do we need to address PTOs, we may need to address church organizations and telling them, in our district, saying, hey, if you have some people involved, that want to be involved, we need to get them involved. Thank you.
Mr. Salyer.
Yeah, I agree with all you're saying, but we have a bi-monthly newsletter goes out to how many thousand households? What is it? 80,000 households or something, and we put the information in there, and we can't even churn up any business with 80,000 piece mail out every 2 months. I'm for it, but people are going to participate if they want to participate. I don't care how much you advertise it. If people want to step up, they're going to step up with or without advertising. If 80,000 pieces of mail can't fix it every 2 months, we're kind of beating the horse, folks.
Mr. Macias.
Yeah, I just wanted to say the PTO option was actually a brilliant idea, and Mr. Flores also mentioned that elementary school is where our parents are most active. I think if we start, like we're doing with the energy, a culture, if we tell elementary parents that they need to be engaged, we have a very attentive group that we can also nurture as we move forward on middle school and high school. So I think that there's potential really to grow it. So we'll target that.
Ms. Williams.
Sure, I just would echo too what Richard said. I think that's a great idea, and I actually disagree with you for the first time tonight, Steve. I do appreciate that we put it out there. We have it on our website. We put it in newspapers, but I can promise you as an active parent in my own children's school, if someone comes to the campus and addresses me saying, these are opportunities, it's a very different invitation to come out and get involved than it is in writing. So although it's a great effort to put it in the papers and all, I think that actually getting out there and
I agree.
Being a human being asking for that assistance.
All politics is local. Shake that hand.
Sounds good. Sounds good to me.
Happen.
Thanks.
Okay. I think for the next board meeting, maybe we'll bring it up for board action.
When I looked in the board book, I didn't see the policy.
No.
First reading, you have to have how the policy is going to read. And I didn't see it. As first reading, but not for action.
Jack, taking all that. Thank you. Okay, update on board advisory committees. Anybody had a meeting?
We haven't had a meeting since that big meeting, in March, and being it's April, and I really wouldn't suggest we do it the long range until the May meeting, and like I'm trying to tell the long range committee, we've got to look beyond this bond. We have to look 5-10 years down the road. That's what long range planning is, and that and then when we decide on the structure of committees, what we need to put together, and because a lot of long range has to do with curriculum. If we decide to go expand the CATE program or something, so that's part of long range planning. And that's what I've been telling them, and they're pretty receptive to that. So I think in May we'll be, geared again to go into something, and we'll see what happens with the bond too. So, yeah.
Okay, Ms. Adair.
Mr. Flores, so do you view your long-range committee as part of the strategic plan, or should the board be looking at when we're going to review our strategic plan? Because when you're talking about, the long range we used to have was 5-year and 10-year, mainly facilities.
Right.
But then the curriculum, how many police, all that was part of the strategic plan.
Well, I think they have to be incorporated in some way. Not a direct, okay, you're this part of it, but this is what we're looking at to plan, and then the strategic plan comes along and says, okay, this is what they may be recommending, or so we need to look at this to see how we can reach that. That's the difference between strategic plan and long-range planning. You do have to, funnel everything through the superintendent.
Do you plan on having the strategic plan review in the upcoming year, Dr. Mackey? Okay, so we'll connect the dots.
I've been in business for the private entity for a while, and they always did a 5-year strategic plan. And you go and the next year you add that one more year, and you see where you're at. You add that one more year, and I know we've worked that to some extent, but we just need to be more visible with it. Saying this is what we're trying to do, and let's go from there. And see where we're at, what we did, and that's part of the strategic plan. Thank you.
We have the new chairperson for the curriculum, right, Sonny? The curriculum and instruction, and he sent out an email, real nice, and thank you, sir, for continuing to get involved. You have anything to say, sir? Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Salinas, I need to apologize to the board and the and the district. I missed the finance committee meeting. Some people came out, and I was really busy trying to do my taxes, and I completely forgot until that evening. And so I apologize to the people on TV that came, and all of you sitting here, and Mr. Elizondo, because I missed that one. And so please forgive me. I'll do better next time.
It's called Senior Mementos. Thank you. Mr. Lapoyo. Yes.
The Education Foundation had their meeting last night. We set our date for the prize patrol. Of course, I can't tell you that date because it's a surprise. Huh? Even for me, huh? Also, we, I think, what was it, June, did we settle on the money for scholarships? 16? Yeah. 16,000 and 15 for teacher grants.
16 for teachers and 15 for...
I thought it was the other way.
Because I'm on the teachers. And we got 16.
Just the other way around. Excuse me if I'm coughing, but I'm dying slowly.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Okay, on L, and you already started the update, sir. Update on board training, conference events, and consider future agenda items by board members. You already did your part. Yes, sir. Anybody else? Training, conferences, Ms. Williams.
Oh, well, I know Miss Jackie's been sending us our SLI saying, are you going? But I will be attending that. And then I know it's not on our calendar, but I'm pretty sure someone's celebrating a birthday and a big wedding anniversary, too. So that's on our calendar. So I was going to say happy birthday and happy anniversary.
Mr. LaFoyle, another birthday?
50th wedding anniversary, right? 50th, yeah.
But you're not supposed to discuss what you're going to do, sir.
You're still old.
I'm just saying happy birthday. Happy birthday and happy anniversary. 50 years is something, that's a big deal.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
39, right? Years married?
50 years married. I'm only 39 years old.
Thank you. Oh, woo. Okay, sir. Thank you. Anybody else?
Yeah.
You go ahead, sir.
We went to a meeting, Arnold and I attended a meeting with ACCD and the School Board Coalition last Friday, and we are one of the districts that Alamo colleges are really engaged with. They're engaged with all the districts, but they're really committed to us with our early college, and then they're in with Edgewood also. But they're doing, they just want to get more involved. We need to get, and they've discussed how can they help us so where our kids don't need as much, they're not called remedial courses anymore, they're called developmental courses in college now. So, but that's what they're going with. As we know, we have a lot of problems with our kids that come out and do need to take refresher or developmental courses before they get into their college courses, and they are, and it's costing them a lot of money. I mean, they get loans and everything. And also, we have a graduation next month with JECA. They will be graduating on May 15th, and they'll receive their associate's degree. And then 2 weeks later, they'll get their high school diploma. I think that's really great, and everybody was really enthused about that over there at Alamo Colleges. It is a great event. Again, SLI, we've got that going on. I'm trying to think if there was something else. That's it for now. Thank you.
And the ACCD, well, I call them ACCD. I understand they're Alamo colleges now. They're very, very excited that they're going to be able to be part of the 18 Bexar County school districts. Very, very excited. I also attended the Texas Foundation in San Marcos. We were there for 2 days, and Mr. LaFoyle and Miss Adair were there. What was it? The other one? I believe. Any other ones? The what? Texas, the one you went, Texas Foundation? Texas Education Foundation.
No, I talked about our meeting last night.
He wants you to say, what do we do? What do we get?
He was out there trying to steal a Cobra in the parking lot, but they wouldn't let him.
Yeah, they help a lot of the school districts. They have, especially the foundations, like the Judson Education Foundation. I understand they have a lot of scholarships, and I don't know whether our foundation has applied for any of them, but they had a lot of information, and some of them are just starting their foundations. Had a lot of ideas. Yvette was there, our coordinator, so hopefully that'll help continue working on our foundation. Is that okay? How about Mr. Macias?
Okay, I attended.
Legislation.
Yes, thank you. It's not on the calendar.
Oh, no.
I attended Legislative Day, but it was after the meeting, right? Yeah. And all of the districts were there. I went in and visited a couple of our representatives. We know we're coming up on the time where we need to start preparing our advocacy, and somehow we're always behind on that. So I'm just asking the board members if we can look at whatever we still want to present, if we want to contact our legislatures first, with any of the bills. Mr. Sauer can tell you the exact numbers of the bills. He keeps up with that part of it. I just keep up with the general, what is it, but I think a little bit more involvement from us would be good. We have about 40 days left in this session. And so I represent it, and my feet hurt at the end of the day walking up and down them halls.
I think we predicted unfunded mandated. It's coming. Cameras to some of the special ed classes. Not every class, but some of them. And again, mandated unfunded, and that's terrible because they want to throw it right back at the school district. Yes, sir.
I'd like a little break in the order here. When I spoke about the developmental courses, Mr. Cordova has some information. Would we be allowed to have him tell us about that? Did anybody have any problem with that?
No.
Okay, Mr. Cordova.
Cardoso.
I'm sorry.
No, Cardoso. I'm sorry. Thank you, Art.
Thank you. As many of you know, after 30 some odd years, I've gone back to college. So, and the remedial classes, I only had to take math. Okay, so developmental. But the other day I was in our algebra class, and some of the kids had just graduated from our schools, Wagner, Judson, and the professor was instructing us on some algebra work, and they said, the kids just spoke up and they said, well, they didn't teach us that in high school. And they said, well, what school did you graduate from? And it was Wagner, and the other one said Judson. He says, well, what are they teaching you? He says, well, they just give you a calculator and they tell you how to figure out the formulas, or it figures out the formulas, but they don't show you how the relativity of how to get 2x plus yx equals whatever, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And like I said, after 30 some odd years, it's come back, but we didn't use calculators back then. And the way this professor teaches it is very well. But some of the kids are struggling because they just got out last year, and I think what Mr. Flores just said was right on there. I think the college is looking to do that, but we maybe need to look at the curriculum. I don't know. I think the calculators are great, but if the kids don't know the concept behind that, then they're just plugging in numbers. In the same way I did with my daughter. She came home with a sheet, and I said, well, if you take 2x plus 4x, how many do you get? She said, 6x. Okay. You take a positive and negative. Okay. She goes, well, it's because we just use the calculators. I said, that's good. I said, but you've got to understand, if you don't understand that you have 5 minus or negative 1, then it's 4. You've got to have the understanding. So the calculators are great, but I think Mr. Flores hit a point very well made. And like I said, I'm back in school, and that's the only thing I've had to take. And the kids are young. There's a few old folks like us, but the kids were. I was shocked to hear that. So Nancy, it's constructive. It's just So
Let me speak. If they just started, then they're under the old. They graduated under the TAC.
Right. Yes,
and
ma'am.
the old
Right.
curriculum.
Yes, ma'am.
Under STAR, there's a very different requirements. That's why they're readiness standards.
That's good.
It's almost all application.
Right.
Using a calculator, the calculators now are a requirement, and you have to understand the way the calculators are set up. You have to understand how to use it in order to use the calculator.
Right.
So it won't allow you. So the curriculum today is very, very different. That's why STAR is so much harder.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because they're having to do those application pieces. Just so you know, Monday night, I was at Project Pathway with Dr. Leslie, the chancellor of all the community college. Judson, Northside, and Northeast were the 3 districts invited to the table. There were professors there from every university. We have teachers from our high schools that are writing with the professors at the universities. And what they've done is they've taken skills that are struggling in college in these developmental courses, and they've gone all the way back. So the teachers and the college professors are writing lessons so that those harder process skills are being addressed. And then all of our teachers across San Antonio will have access to those lessons. The professors also shared they're having to change how they teach. So the lessons are being written for the freshman professors. They were doing a lot of lecture and a lot of non-hands-on as well. So it's a real collaborative, and we are participating.
I do want to congratulate Jekka, because in my music class there's like 12 of them, and I want to say that they're great students. I mean, other than their appearance, where they're young, they act very mature, and they're sophomores, I believe. I think they're juniors. No, they're in 10th grade, and I have about 12 of them in my music class, and they're. Yeah, I do. I mention their principals every once in a while, and they'll be like, oh. So, congratulate them and tell them, the ones in the music class really, really behave really well. So it's good to, some report to the Judson from the JECA kids, from someone who's next to them every day.
Thank you, Art.
Thank you.
Another thing, Mr. Salinas, that we attended, Mr. Macias and I attended the NALEO conference in the last part of February, and they gave a presentation from Texas State that they have what's called the FOCUS curriculum. That's a developmental type thing. And I was speaking to a few of the other board members from throughout the state that were there, and 75% of the state uses C-Scope, I believe. And what we're talking to some C-Scope people is saying, well, we got to try to incorporate that into, where the kids won't need to go to those focus, those developmental courses, because they're bringing something at Texas State that the kids are, it's remedial. They're coming back, and it's costing them money, So if they could somehow, if C-Scope, and I know they take suggestions from us, as far as what they need done or what we would like them to do, if they could incorporate that program into the curriculum, I think that would be that would really help our kids.
Okay, Mr. Flores, a couple of things you have to look at. We have a number of students that go to four-year colleges, all over the state of Texas. You look at our success rate and pass rate on our STAR, even on our tax, and you're going to see the end of the year. Well, a number of kids that go to the two-year colleges are kids that have been majority unsuccessful even in the high school. So they have to go there, and there's nothing wrong with that if they go there and they do the remedial classes to catch up. However, we are seeing a number of our kids in our four-year university that are doing very well. They understand it and they know what's going on in that area.
Feedback on that, Dr. Mackey? As far as, I know we're always looking to follow up on our kids, and it's tough sometimes.
Well, that's the thing that we're working on right now with our college readiness, and Ms. Robinson have more information on that.
I just want to say in January, we had students come to a meeting I had. Some current high school students were present, as well as students that are already in university. We had them come from UTSA, Southwest, and Texas A&M, and they provided me feedback with what they wish they would have known, and so that we can go back and make sure that those things are being addressed. Because now that you're there, and they gave both things. Now what we're there, we felt real strong about these things, and we would love it. We wish we would have had more of this thing, So that's what we're working on. Right. Either or, but still, that means we need to emphasize it more. We are working a lot. We are in Gentex and Project Pathways working with the community college. That will be part of the curriculum, these lessons that are created, just so you know.
Great. Thank you.
You want to go to the next one? Okay, Ms. Jonader.
Mr. Salinas, I just wanted to mention one other event. Today I was in Austin, and I was in an education something, like a big room full of people talking about education. And I forgot what it was called. Anyway, no drinks, just water. They had a representative there from the Texas Public Policy, but they also had somebody there from Florida. And so the presentation, the gentleman from Florida kept comparing our public schools to what they've done in Florida. And then as the people were asking questions and interaction, they weren't telling the truth. And, I can't sit by quietly too long. And so I did get the opportunity to present the public school side and how it's an unfair comparison to compare us to charters when we have different guidelines and rules. One of the people wanted to know, well, if you take the students out and put them in charters, what will happen to the public schools? And so, the panel said nothing. And I said, I'm sorry, that's not accurate. We lose our ADA. It follows the child. And so I remember that when you were talking, Gilbert, we really, really, really have to work hard at making sure that people understand public school versus charter versus private. And then, of course, I said my same thing I always say about private. They don't have to take everybody, and they don't take everybody. So
If they want to get rid
we
of
did
it,
do
they
that
get
today.
rid
We
of
were in Austin. Thanks.
Ms. Howard, could you mention about our annual retirement banquet?
Yes, sir. At your desk tonight, you received an invitation to the upcoming 2013 Judson ISD Retirement Banquet. It was in a schedule conflict with our March 23rd budget meeting, but Mr. Salinas had given us the authority to go ahead and have the retirement banquet that night. So in May, yes. So we certainly hope that you all can join us and bring a guest.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Bear, could you mention the other?
Yes, sir. On May 1, I want to invite everyone to our trades. It's called Blueprint for Success. It's a manual trades fair that we're having for our students, 6 through 11. And we have 15 vendors that have agreed to come. One of them is the National Hispanic Builders Association. And so we are still working on getting our goal is to get 30 vendors. So far, we're at 16 vendors.
Okay, thank you.
So we invite May 1st.
What time?
It'll be from 8:30 to 1:30.
During the day?
9 to 2. We've changed to 9 to 2. It's during the school day, yes.
Yes.
1:30. It's during the school day, yes.
Ms. Perez, can you put that on the calendar?
Yes, we've put it on the calendar. I just told her earlier
Okay.
today, so.
Thank you.
Board members, before we move on, we did have a scheduled budget review on the 23rd of May. We have to move that to either the 21st, which is Tuesday, or the 20th. Any preference? Beth? It's a Monday. It's good for me. How do you all feel? Budget review on May the 20th is a Monday.
I have an appointment on the 20th, but just proceed.
Oh, okay, sir.
I don't really like the Monday.
Yeah, Monday, Mr. LaPoyle, okay?
All my questions on April the 25th.
Okay. Okay, so we're gonna move that, Jackie, budget review on the 20th. From the 23rd, it's moved back to the 20th. Whatever, 6 o'clock, okay with you all? Okay, 6 o'clock.
Okay.
Okay, I think that was the only date. And then, of course, Monday, don't forget, we have a special meeting for Monday. This is going to be superintendent goals and review evaluation, and it'll be on executive session.
What time?
6 o'clock, sir. And a work session on the 25th of April.
And that's at 6:30, right?
Yes. No, 6 o'clock.
All 6 o'clock?
Yes, sir. Did you get that, Jackie? Thank you. Okay, any other thing? Okay, moving on to the discussion, consideration of action items. 6A. Consider and take possible action regarding approval concerning leadership Baldrige training. Ms. Adair.
I need a motion.
Second.
Motion, Mr. Macias, second, Ms. Williams. Discussion.
Thank you. When we went to the Texas Education Foundation Conference, I sat in a class, I don't even remember the guy's name now, but anyway, with Mr. LaFoyle and Ms. Gary, and then Mr. Salinas and Ms. Reyna went to the class. The gentleman was, the guy was from someplace, I gave it to Dr. Mackey already. He talked about leadership and team building and successful outcomes for students. He was excellent. And I remember that we had started doing Baldrige before, back in 2010, so I asked Dr. Mackey to check into it. The session that I attended with Dr. Leslie and the superintendent of Church Cibolo. They were commended. Dr. Leslie was very excited that they were doing this Baldrige program, and they won some kind of monetary award. And so moving forward into the reason I have this on here now is because it would have to be included in the budget for budget discussion time. But I know Miss, I don't know, I gave it to Dr. Mackey. But that's where this came from.
Discussion, Mr. Selly.
What's the cost?
I don't know what the cost is.
Well,
Dr. Mackey said he was going to be meeting tomorrow with Church Cibolo, but I gave Dr. Mackey the gentleman's card and his contact information because I didn't want you to accuse me, Mr. Salyer, of contacting him.
I know.
So I didn't.
But I can't vote on anything I don't know what it's going to cost. So
well,
I would recommend you table it until we get some figures.
Well, what I'd like to know from the board is the board interested in doing the Baldrige training, because we don't want to have Dr. Mackey chase, are we interested in hearing about it? Are we familiar with it?
I'm interested in the cost. That's part of it. What's it cost and what's it involve? I read what you have here, but
that came from Dr. Mackey.
I want to know what cost is.
Okay.
I don't want to what the time consumption is. It's just like, every Saturday for 20 weeks or whatever, or it's just 3 meetings.
Oh, this is not a board. This is not a board thing. This is a district. Church Cibolo did it as a district. It's
I want to know
for
what the
all the
cost
people.
is, the involvement of the district employees, the non-district employees. I need a lot more information. I'm not saying no. I'm not saying yes. My recommendation is you table this, because if it comes to a vote, I'm going to vote no.
Okay.
Hold on, ma'am. I understood that this would be a good team building for the board.
That's part of it.
I was not considering the whole district.
Okay. Team building for the board is part of the Baldrige training. But can I, Dr. Mackey, are you familiar with this? Can you give us any enlightenment on what Baldrige training, I know Ms. Robinson knows because I already know she knows. She always knows about these training things.
Sorry. Mr. Flores.
Thank you. I have to go along with Steve. When I looked at this thing, I could see this. This is the same thing we did with Ms. Longmire, basically. Trying to get the team going together, and we do have to know the cost on this. We can't just say, I'd be interested in anything that we can that can improve the district. But again, is that the best? Is that the best thing out there? Do we need to go out to an RFQ? Do we need to, an RFP or something? That's my concerns.
I agree. I agree with both of y'all. We need to know the cost. And I don't mind pulling the motion, but if the board is interested, then are we asking Dr. Mackey to further, because I gave him all of the information the day that we have it, so I don't have any of that. I'm not going to do it. So I need the board to say if you're interested in Dr. Mackey finding out the cost and et cetera, what's involved. You saw the page, Mr. Salinas, on the board of directors. The other school district that did this, Dr. Mackey, you told us, was Aldine. And their school board was recognized as one of the school boards of the year. So I intentionally did not call. I don't have any information on Baldrige except the guy at the class. So if the board is interested, I'll withdraw the motion and ask Dr. Mackey to provide whatever data that y'all want to know. How's that?
Yes.
That's good.
Okay. Then I withdraw my motion. And you made the motion? Okay. Okay, he withdrew and she withdrew.
Okay,
So
until
that's
we get
canceled.
further information. Okay.
And wait,
hold on.
we need specific. I need specific. What is it that you're wanting Dr. Mackey to come back to the board with? So we don't do this.
I understand you. What I want to know is what it costs. What does it involve for our employees and the board? Just a one-page summary of, we got this, but cost is important. Cost and time are the two big things. And, you know, maybe a little something on their success. I mean, you mentioned your school districts succeed. That's okay, but, and I need a recommendation from the superintendent. Does this fit our district? Just because it happened and fit in one, excuse me, I'm speaking bad. Just because it fit in one district doesn't mean it fits in Judson. So just a one-page summary, Doc. That's all I want, Doc. I don't want anybody else. I'm just one person, but, you know, cost, does it fit? Is it economical? Is it going to pull teachers out of the classroom one day a week? I'm exaggerating here, but you know what I mean. Okay.
When Dr. Mackey provides all the information, then we'll decide whether we need to put it as a agenda item. Is that okay?
Right.
Yeah. Sounds good.
And I have a further question on that. Dr. Mackey, what was the program that we started in 2010 with that lady?
Yes, that was Laura Longmire's, and it was basically a leadership. It was a partial Baldrige, and it was some things that her company had implemented that she was showing us that it's like a partial Baldrige.
SQI, Strategic Quality Initiative.
Yes.
That was her company.
Strategic. Yes, that was her company, yes.
Okay, we can move on. Thank you. B, 6B, consider and take possible action to amend the Judson ISD elementary dress code. Amendment would include deleting the wording any color, solid, or stripe under the polo style shirts, removing any solid color under button-down Oxford style shirt, and removing the must be either tan, brown, black, khaki, blue, or gray from the buttons section. Ms. Williams. Motion? Do I have a second? Second, motion by Ms. Williams, second by Mr. Macias. Ms. Williams.
Sure, I don't really have a lot to discuss. It kind of self-explanatory, but just to bring the elementary dress code on the same basic level as the middle school and high school. That's it.
Mr. Selly.
Yes. I mean, you bring this up all the time, and I respect you, but here's my issue with this. Our kids are 6% below poverty level for lunch. That's kind of how we judge things. And I can tell you, in a fifth grade class or fourth grade class, a polo pony, you know, on a shirt that costs $60 versus a plain shirt that costs $6 means a lot to a fifth grader. You know, even middle school, you know, $100 pair of, you know, Jordan-Airs, $100 pair of Jordan-Airs is very different from a $10 pair of Payless tennis shoes. I just think we got a good policy. It doesn't put one kid better than the other or dress better than the other. It's a very neutral policy, and that's what I like about it. You know, kids are kids. I mean, you got 4 now. I mean, you know what I'm talking about. They're very judgmental. They look at you know, tennis shoes. They look at shirts. They look at eyeglasses. They look at haircuts. And the more we do to keep things neutral and equal, the better. So I can't support this, Beth.
Mr. LaFoyle.
I'm up already? Yeah, I can't see where this is going to make it any more equal. Right now, it's totally equal. They can have what color they want in these things. Any color, stripe, solid, or stripe. Any solid color. What more do we want? Do we want to be able to have to be Jordan? They have to be Gucci, whatever. No, the thing is now, this is the way we wrote it back then. This is the most equal way for every school, no matter what the income was for the parents in that district. Now you want to change it, and the income is going to change also. Because the kids on the other side of town that have more money than these kids are going to be wearing fancy ones, and the other one's going to be this. And there again, look at what I'm wearing, look what you're wearing. So this year, I can't back this. I'm sorry. What we have is great.
William.
Thank you. Just a simple example of, if I can use the two gentlemen to my right here, the shirts that you both are wearing tonight look very nice, very clean cut, and you would both be allowed to wear these 2 shirts in middle school and high school. But if you were to go onto an elementary campus, Gilbert would be in dress code, Steve, you'd be out of dress code. That's all I'm trying to, and then, you know, I'm not questioning the dollar amount. There are children that go to any campus that spend all sorts of amounts. We can't tell a parent you can't spend too much on clothing, but I think it's just bringing on, like I said, it's not changing, it's not changing the basic core of our dress code in any way. It's still a collared shirt. You both look very professional tonight, but one of you is out of dress code on elementary campuses, yeah, I know, as Gilbert's pointing out, and one of you is not. And that's all I'm asking is for equality throughout the district for all age groups. It's not changing, you know, it's keeping a modest, clean cut, you know, I think that it keeps everything within the core part of our dress code. It's just making a simple change to be more inclusive, that's all. Thank you.
If I may answer that, excuse me, June, answer that real quick. We are talking differences between elementary schools, middle school, and high schoolers. We've had this discussion about the difference between 6th graders and 8th graders in our middle schools, right? And it's a whole mindset here. You know, kids in middle school and high school realize that, yeah, there's social and economical differences in the district, okay? Elementary school kids should not be put through that. I guess that's my argument. You know, I mean, we want to keep our kids simple, not vanilla, but take out that stuff that, well, I have to pay attention because Johnny's got a polo pony on his shirt and I don't. I'm telling you that's a big effect on kids. That's why private schools and charter schools and people like that have white shirt and khaki pants, and that's it. They recognize that. And that's just my opinion. I respect you, Beth, but I have to disagree on this because I don't think there should be equality between middle school and high school and in elementary school. There should be a difference in dress code because of the maturity of the kids and what something represents. Thank you.
Go ahead.
And I completely understand. There's a lot of things that I do agree that there are major differences in mindset and all. This, again, is just the very core of the dress code. It's collared shirts. It's not changing the core of it. It's keeping the modesty. It's keeping, the focus on dressing appropriately, modestly. So I don't see a difference personally in those two shirts that you're wearing. It's just at the very core that I'm not changing anything. But I do appreciate some of that, absolutely.
Ms. Hader.
I had two questions. One, Dr. Mackey, what is your position on this, and what type of feedback has Mr. Gonzalez received from that committee that was started to review the handbook?
I visited with Mr. Gonzalez, and he has said it hasn't been any feedback on it. And my position is just we're going to do whatever the board desires.
Go ahead, ma'am.
Well, I have heard from parents in elementary school about the colors of the shorts. I'm sure you gentlemen haven't noticed, but they are all dull colors: tan, brown, black, khaki, blue, or gray. And this one lady that has two little kids, she came by my house, and that's what happens when you live by Ed France. And she said, Miss Adair, she calls me that too, my child can't wear her purple and pink. And she has some real pretty lime green, and all y'all let them wear is the browns and the tans, and and I have those clothes, and she's going to outgrow them, and she can't even wear them to school. So, definitely, I'll support that, taking out the tan, brown. Sorry, Mr. Gonzalez. I'm trying to understand the other, Mr. Salyer. How will taking out the color of the stripes cause them to spend more money? I'm trying to get that.
It's not so much spending money, it's creating differences between kids. Yeah.
Is it
That's
going
just my
to?
opinion. It's just.
No, that's what I'm trying to
understand. We have a very equal, neutral policy now, so that there's nothing different from any kid between first grade and fifth grade. And I like that. I mean, that's just me. I mean, I like to dress well, but you know what? I'm not in elementary school. You know, I'm not in elementary school. And the more you take out anything that creates volatility or separation is good, in my opinion. And having neutral clothes in elementary does that. These kids got enough to worry about. And I just think it throws in the mix. Now, we're here again talking about dress code again, and I'm saying the same thing I always say, but I just think it throws something in the mix that we don't need, because what we have now works, and it works well. And if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Mr. Macias.
Yes, Beth. Right now, the way I'm reading it, it says polo-style shirts, and in parentheses, it says any color, solid, or stripe. So you were recommending that we delete that verbiage?
Yes, so it will still read polo-styled shirt with or Oxford-style button-down shirt.
And because when you say any solid color, I mean, that's pretty much any solid color. So that means then that, well, I'll support this. I mean, I don't think it's a big deal. So I think it makes consistency. And I think that's ultimately what you're looking for. You're looking for consistency in our district, and that's fine. Thank you.
Back to me. We are opening a can of worms. Because if you take out any color, solid, or stripes out of these polo shirts and take out any solid color on the other, we're going to have kids coming in with purple shirts, with green collars, and pink buttons.
They want to wear that.
They'll wear anything they want. And this is distractive. We are distracting from the environment. Right now we have a good thing for the environment. What we have now works. We change it, it's not going to work.
Mr. Flores.
Thank you. Was I the only one at our TASB policy review that heard him say that the board should not be involved in the dress code or the handbook? You know, that was up to that was an administrative part of the governance clock. And, you know, I agree with Richard there as far as saying, you know, if you change something that's working, something else is going to be broken. And like he's saying, they will wear those shirts, they will wear those collars, and they will be distracting. You know, I agree. I understand that. But, you know, we are going, I think this is fine the way it is, and I don't think I can support changing this, but I think we really got to look at, you know, our priorities on this as far as what the administration should be doing on this. Thank you.
Mr. Macias.
I hear you, Mr. Flores. I know that we did ask Dr. Mackey what his recommendation was, and he had no recommendation. So in some instances, we'll probably look to your leadership on this, if this is an issue worth discussing or not. If you would have told me what Mr. Flores and Mr. LaFoyle said, it's going to be a distraction, I mean, we would weigh that into our decision. I didn't hear you say that, so in some essence, you probably don't think it's a distraction. Mr. Gonzalez hasn't mentioned any feedback that there's distraction with color differentials. So as long as we're consistent, and the only reason I can see Beth's point is because we're already doing this in middle school and high school. I guess that's all I wanted to say.
Yeah, I mean, Beth, I understand your sense of fairness. I do. You want fairness, and I do too. But I think we're opening up a can of worms here that, okay, we have one blue button, one purple button, and one yellow button on a polo shirt. And you know they're out there. I see them. You know? Okay? And then we have this stripe and that stripe. It's going to be an absolute nightmare for our elementary administrators to interpret this, because some parent out there is laying low to say, that's not fair because you change a policy and I bought all these solid color shirts, right? And the other kid has a dad that can afford it, bought all these really cool striped shirts with yellow, green, purple, orange buttons, and a white shirt with a green collar and a polo pony or whatever. And we're creating a nightmare for our administrators are going to do nothing but deal with what we are creating. And I wish there were some more principals here so I could put them on the spot, and I'm not going to do that. But I'm just saying it's going to happen. I mean, we're creating a nightmare. We're creating a nightmare that they don't need. They have enough to worry about except the color of buttons and the color of striped shirts. Right, Mr. Gonzalez? I'm going to put you on the spot. He's not going to say anything. He's like Dr. Mackey. He's got his white polo shirt on. He's sticking with it. Okay.
Mr. Foyle.
I got one more thing to say here. What we're opening up for is these kids will wear a shirt with a pair of shoes hanging on a line. Now, do you see anything wrong with that, anybody? That means dope available. They'll be wearing their gang signs on them. They'll be wearing 410, which is another gang sign. This is all going to be opened up. If we leave them solid, Beth, let me tell you, we had kids come to school with custom-made shirts with 410 on the back. That's gang. And we're talking elementary kids. So I'll tell you, we're opening a big can of worms if this goes through.
410, 1604, it doesn't matter, sir. That's why we have the administrators that can do that. This is for the next school year. I will support this if it's for the next school year, to be effective next school year. And I don't think it'll be a problem. And as far as equality, we haven't had any problem in the high schools or the middle schools, and our elementaries are much better behaved students. I will be supporting this. Thank you. Call for the question.
I would like to put this on the agenda for next month, please. Yes, I would. Put it on the agenda for next month.
Yes, sir. That's fine.
Yes, sir. I will bring it back.
Okay, the next one is consider to take possible action regarding approval and agreement with San Antonio River Authority to install a recycled water line across an existing easement agreement. Dr. McAfee. Motion by Mr. Flores, second by Mr. Maciel.
Mr. Kirshner. Okay. Yeah.
Mr. Kirshner.
Yes, sir. We have an easement agreement with Sarah in place at the creek between Judson Middle School and the PAC. And what we want to do is we want to take a purple pipeline from Judson Middle School so that the ag facility can fill. They're trying to get a new fish pond started over there. Much less cheaper than doing a domestic water line.
Okay.
So this is the agreement, is to cross an easement that we've already granted to Sarah.
Okay.
That's all it is.
Water,
No, it's going to be purple pipe
Purple
water,
pipe.
the same that comes out of the creek right there.
Okay.
No. Any other discussion? If no discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed?
No.
One opposed?
One opposed.
4 yeses. The motion carries. 2 were not here to vote. D, consider and take possible action regarding approval eliminating the pool located in the Educational Resource Center ERC courtyard. Motion by Mr. Flores, second by Mr. Salyer. Discussion, Dr. Mackey.
Yes. $243.
Yeah, it's on page 243.
Costs $12,000 to fill
Yeah,
it.
if you look at 243, we're looking at 12,000, which is 244 kind of gives you the breakdown, along with 245. It shows you what we'd be looking at doing.
Mhm.
With-
It costs $9,000 to maintain it.
It's right, yes, sir. Yes, sir. But you just might remember, I brought this up before to see if you only wanted to pursue it, so we
Yeah.
did. And we have cleared with Live Oak, not a problem with what
Okay.
we want to do.
Okay.
Okay,
No
it's
discussion
gonna cost $12,000 to remove it, right?
to fix it.
To fill it. Then $9,000, it's gonna cost $8,975 to put all the different stuff in there. Base gravel and all that, spring topsoil.
No.
The whole
No.
total is
The whole total is $12,000.
the whole total.
Well, you got $9,000 on another page, on 244.
I know, but
You got 12,000 to remove it, and another nine.
no.
almost
No,
9,000
it's the
to
same
remove.
thing.
Same thing. I know,
Well-
what we asked for the 12,000.
Confusing, then. You
Okay,
put it
no,
in two
no,
different spots.
I know, the nine, if you look at the 9,000, that's kind of an estimate, what we're talking about. But we need 12,000 to complete the project.
Okay.
Okay, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Opposed, one opposed, is 8 there. Motion carried. Consider to take possible action regarding approval of the surface right of entry agreement with the city of Converse to allow access to the bridge haven lit section. Where is the bridge?
Bring that up.
Yes, sir. Behind Judson Elementary School, behind Converse Elementary School, there is a lift station that is managed by the city of Converse. It's not on our property, it's behind our property. And it's a lift station for sewage, so it's got a grinder that grinds up the sewage and then pumps it downstream to get to another place. They have one access road that goes into that that's very, very bad. They can't get their equipment through there, and they're asking us if they can do a little makeshift road going, running right next to our detention pond to get back there. They're not doing any work on our site. They just need access to get to that lift station back there so they can manage it. And it is a lift station that we actually send sewage to through Converse Elementary. That's it. Mhm.
Mr. Flores.
Yeah, will there be some kind of agreement as far as maintaining that road and, if any damages are done to our property?
Yes, sir. It's tied into that agreement. It's on that agreement there. They have to they're not building a full road. They're going to do like a gravel road, and we've talked to them, if you damage a fence or anything, you have to repair it. They're all in for that. So, and it's all in that agreement. Mr. Grimes reviewed that agreement for us.
What kind of equipment are we going to be bringing across our property?
Mainly, it's just work trucks. Work trucks. They shouldn't have to get anything any bigger down there because it's in the ground. Everything they can do, they can work it in there. Yes. Maybe something bigger, maybe a 1 ton, but that'll be about as big as stuff they're looking at.
No 5 tons or anything? Sure.
Nothing that I know of. I mean, I know what the lift station is about down there. I'll tell them that you're watching. All right.
Okay, no further discussion. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Likewise, motion carried. F, consider to take action regarding approval of establishing the position of the district coordinator of school improvement. Do I have a motion? Motion by Mr. Salier, second by Mr. Salinas. Discussion.
Okay, this is something that the district coordinator of school improvement is when the school's on AYP. This is mandated in order for us to get our funding because we have one school that possibility be going to a stage 4. So we don't have a choice if we're going to be receiving money, and we have to utilize the funding that they're sending us to use to do this, because 20% of the Title I funding throughout the district has to go to the level Stage 4 schools. So this is something by law that we have to do if we're going to receive title funding.
So the plan is to still receive title funding for the school?
Yes.
And once the school is out of that status, do we need to keep the position?
Ms. Howard.
You're saying that we have to do it because we're going into Stage 4.
Yes.
So
Is this Title I funded?
As long as we have any schools in the district that are either stage 1 through 3, we are required to have this position in the district to work with the campus leadership teams and to work with CNI. So yes, the answer is yes. As long as the funding is there for the position, we have to have the position.
And it is funded from Title
Yes,
I
sir.
money?
From the school improvement monies.
All right. All right. Thank you.
Ms. Adair.
Yes, sir. I know we say coordinator, but how much money? Dollars?
Okay, the position would be in pay grade, professional educator, pay grade 5, and we're looking at the amount of a daily rate, midpoint of that of being $323 a day.
Annual?
That's a daily rate.
Annual?
The annual rate, let me get that for you. Because it'll be a 216 position.
Okay. Richard.
Approximately $70,000.
How much?
$70,000.
So, Dr. Mackey, you just stated that this is required because we have campuses in this, on these stages.
Ms. Adair, I'd like to point out that I put on your desk this evening the notice from TEA communicating to the district that we are required under the Texas Accountability Intervention System because of the Stage 3 school in our district at this time. And that was set on your desk.
Okay. The only thing, Ms. Howard, Dr. Mackey, well, the letter's dated August the 9th, and so by it being on my desk when I came in, I didn't have time to review that. So, like, if you have something like this, just an email ahead of the meeting would be cool. Then I could review it, and I might not ask you questions that might be covered in there, because I haven't read that. When I look at your first paragraph of the job description that was in our board book, it said stage 1 through 3. So, are we going to change the job description, Dr. Mackey, to include stage 4?
You don't have anybody.
Yes, with possibility we have one school.
Ms. Adair, this position is designed to facilitate support for any school that is stage 1 through 3. If we have a campus that goes to stage 4, we are on a different level of accountability for that school with interventions from the state directly. This is, the accountability here is still district level, and so it's for any campuses 1 through 3. It's not just for that one campus that may be
No, I
going.
understood,
Okay.
but I just wanted to know, based on the job
No.
description,
No, we don't have to change
They-
it.
going to,
They can't.
No,
so they're only going to work with stage
1 through 3.
1 through 3. And which campuses are those right now?
We have five elementary schools and 3 middle schools.
Can you tell me what they are?
It was four
I'm on my
elementary
glasses
schools.
on,
They
so
are
you have to speak. Okay, now I can see you.
Okay, Clark Village, Spring Meadows, Converse Elementary right now, and Kendall.
Okay, and the 2 middle schools?
Kirby. It's Kirby.
That's
All of them but Kitty Hawk.
All of
Kirby,
them?
Woodlake, and no,
Right,
Kirby.
they were unrated, you're right.
It's Kirby, Woodlake, and
Metzger.
Metzger Middle School.
Okay, I can support this. Thank you.
Can we say there? Okay. Oh, I have a question. Has this position been posted? Oh, it has to be posted.
We're creating it tonight so we can post it tomorrow. Yes, sir.
And again, I want to stress that hopefully our employees will be looked at, the employees that apply will be looked at before we bring any outside. That's all I have. I will be supporting this. No, she wants to take care of business. She had to go take care of it. Okay, all those in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, likewise. Motion carries. Consider and take possible action regarding approval of the personnel report and updates, including new hires, resignations, and administrative appointments. Now, we were going to go into closed session, but all those items have been pulled because we do not have any of them that are necessary to go behind closed doors, unless somebody wants to go.
Mr. Salinas, I do need to make a correction to the new hire report. We need to ensure that Valerie Roser, counselor at Metzger Middle School.
Right.
Thank you.
No problem. Did you all get that? Okay. She's been here since August or whatever, right?
Yes, sir. She's internal, but she's taking a different position.
Okay. Ready to do item G. Do we need a motion? Motion by Ms. Adair, second by Mr. Tafoya. All those in favor, second. Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you. Just because I don't want to go in closed session. Dr. Mackey, in looking at the report, once again, I'm concerned about the bus drivers and the custodians.
Concerned, what about them? Concerned?
What extra things are we doing?
Ms. Adair, we are going to try a new initiative within the next 2 to 3 weeks out of my department, and we're going to make a very strategic effort to do a mass hiring of custodians. We are going to actually stage possibly between 60 to 80 interviews in a single day with a committee, and then place new hires immediately. So we're hoping to have that done probably second week of May is our goal on that. We will be pulling candidates from our own current pool of applicants as well as the Texas Workforce Commission.
That is outstanding, Ms. Howard, and great, wonderful, because we are kind of overworking some of our custodians. And so, Dr. Mackey, the last part of the personnel question I had was, the HR people, they didn't give us any information on the temporaries that you were going to look into. Do you have an answer on how many temporaries we have? How long? Wait on that data.
Ms. Adair, specifically, you all had asked about the custodian temporaries, and as of right now, we do not have any. We are actually short on 2 floats because, as requested, we have implemented a 30-day limit. You are either employed at day 31 or you're gone at day 31.
Okay.
So as a result of that action, we have issued memos to the custodian department to ensure that that practice is being followed. Even with that, we still have the vacancies. Everybody
even
that's
after
in place.
You moved
even
whatever
after we
people
put it,
that you could.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we still have some employees that just don't want to be. Yeah, they don't want to be full time. So.
And so is that policy kind of changed? Are we not now sticking people on temporary for long periods of time?
Well, yes.
Okay.
With one small exception, that any paraprofessional that's hired after April 15th of the school year, because they don't make enough money to pay through benefits, they are maintained in temp status until the fall.
Till the school year rolls around. But they kind of have a job, but we're just waiting to pull them on.
Right.
Wouldn't they be there during the summer months? They were still short-handed.
No, sir. The custodians, yes, but not all like classroom instructional aides. Those people leave when the kids leave. They don't work through the summer.
But the custodians?
No, that doesn't apply to custodians.
So you won't be making them temp. You'll go ahead and hire them so they can do all that summer
Right,
stuff.
within the first 30
Okay.
days.
That's what I was
Yes.
really, that's what I thought. That was still going to be short-handed.
No, sir.
And the last part of that, when the custodians and, because I was looking at the report when she was referencing the health exam, can you explain what health requirements Judson has to work here, and who do they apply to?
Absolutely. Our manual trades positions throughout the district, that would be like custodial services, maintenance, grounds, child nutrition, bus drivers. They are all required to complete an HPE, which is basically a health physical exam. And in that exam, we contract that out to a third party that basically assesses blood pressure, lifting ability. They check for any other what could be strain-induced type injuries, and we're doing that in conjunction with our workers' compensation program. The recommendation from TASB is that we only do that for certain positions that show those risks, and so we would possibly see a cost savings. But custodians would still be one of those target areas because that's considered strenuous labor.
So in doing that health exam, what are the requirements that they have to come back with from that? Okay. For example, to be specific, if you're overweight, can you be a custodian?
Yes, actually you can, as long as you're healthy and overweight.
Okay, what if you have high blood pressure and you're overweight?
If you have high blood pressure, then you will not pass the exam.
So are we, because I'm still trying to identify where the problem is. There are all these people out there that say they're unemployed and we can't get manual labor, custodian, child nutrition. So,
Ms. Adair, I can tell you that predominantly the issues are not regarding health. They are regarding criminal history.
Okay. But Dr. Mackey, is that allowed? Is that okay under the disabilities that we can deny employment because they have high blood pressure, or we can do that? That's
yes,
okay?
Yes.
Okay.
You know, if they're able to control it with medicine and things of that sort, then that's fine. It's just that the ones that are not doing that, if they can control it, that's fine. You know, we have employees here in this room with high blood pressure taking medicine. But they're controlling it.
I didn't have high blood pressure until I got on this board. And then I got high blood pressure.
Yeah. Miss Adair, if I can jump in, Miss Adair, it's a different kind of physical for occupational health physical. It's a different kind of, it's range of motion. It's range of motion. It's dexterity. You know, it's risk. Like, you know, it's if you are a custodian, you can't bend over, your risk of back pain or your dexterity or your range of motion, plus, you know, physical labor increases your blood pressure. So there's certain criteria. You know, I mean, I can tell you the Toyota plant has a huge denial of people coming in because they can't meet the criteria. On the drug part of it, people can't employ people because they can't pass the urinalysis test. I mean, that's a huge thing. And I'll pick on SAPD. They're lowering their last use of pot from 5 years to 3 years because they can't get anybody to pass it. No, I'm serious. I mean, police departments are, I'm not making this up. I mean, police departments are changing. Okay, if you haven't smoked pot in 3 years, you're okay. It used to be 5 years. I'm not making this up. Look at it. It's all over the news. I mean, people, because they can't get the qualification to do it, you know? Right, exactly right. But it's the criteria for get these people. So it's not, you got to be able to pass all the check marks. Now, I was going to say something. Oh, okay, my turn. You done, Mr. Adair? Real quick, 30 seconds here. I know what the answer is for I even asked the question because I asked our CFO. We spent $309,000 last month on OT, PT, speech therapists, all that. I don't have an answer. Those people are high-paid people. It costs us an incredible amount of money to contract these people. I mean, Dr. Mackey, Ms. Howard, can we look at maybe having a separate pay scale or something with these people? Because it's I know they're taking, I tell you what, I know I used to work for a contract. They take 25% off the top and leave you with what's left, and that's just money out the door. But anyway.
It's not coming on. The items that were pulled tonight, if you'll look through some of that data closely, we are going to be making some recommendations about putting those positions onto the professional, either educator or operations pay grades, which will affect them tremendously. So we are working towards that.
I'm going to address what Mrs. Dare said. I'll give her an answer to it. People out there are unemployed. They're unemployed because they're making more money, unemployment, than they would if they come to work for us. The thing is, they don't want to work. They want to sit. So we're always going to be short of people.
All those in favor